Hey everybody, I am Tommy and you were on the lifeboat. What's going on? It's Sunday night and that can only mean one thing. This is the night that I rearrange all of my my velvet Elvises, like 30 of them. And I organize those things. It's usually a Sunday night thing. I'm kidding. Sunday night is night yard.
Really?
It is night yard around this campus. And on the way to the chow hall, by the way, I wasn't going down there to eat. I was going down there to pay a debt. But on the way to the chow hall, I ran into these two ne'er-do-wells. So with me, as always, is Russ. And for those of you that didn't meet Casper during our last show, this is a convict that I did time with. This is a old roommate of mine. Of course, we called them cellies back then. But it was an old roommate of mine in Phoenix, Arizona. Casper, welcome to Night Yard.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah, tonight. Stoked. And Russ, is that Lily you got there?
That's Lily. That's the
world's smallest dog. Look at this thing, man.
Wow.
She's a mini pit. Look at that thing. She's a killer.
Yeah.
Stone cold killer, man.
Gorgeous, man. Just gorgeous.
Stone cold killer. All righty, let's say hi to some people. We'll get this thing underway. Nick, I am the noise opera. Good to see you, my brother. Kristen Melinda, how are you? Glad that you're here. Sandy Lady, what's up? Hey, Deadhead. Allison Metcalf Palumbo is here. And Mrs. Hydrox, or Mr. Shydrox. Kiki, how are you? Scooby Lee won't be here because DB night. Okay. Be safe, Scoob. Thanks for stopping in and saying hello. James Collins cares, and the man does. And the man does. It's good to see you, too. Always nice to see you. Taylor Miller, what's happening? Taylor says, hello, boys. Dee Razzle Dazzle. Emma Fan. Hello from the UK. Boy, you stayed up late for this rascal, didn't you? Woo-hoo-hoo! Whoa, that's earning it, Emma. Thank you. We really appreciate that. Monica Larimore.
Go to the UK.
You know, I am feeling better. I actually am feeling better a little bit. Roberta's here. CMF, what's happening? CJ Harris. Miss Dragon. Good to see you, my sister. You are in my thoughts and prayers always.
Yep.
And she's in the process of beating the big C. So if we could keep her in our thoughts and prayers, I'd appreciate it. She's one of us. Christine, good to see you. Twisted Sister Paranormal. You know, what was it? About 30 years ago, we started with this we're not going to take it stuff. And here we are, 2024. We're still taking it. I promise you, 40 years, we're still taking it.
D. Snyder.
D. Snyder. Did you not love D. Snyder? Karma Chameleon, good to see you. Hold up. Wait a minute. Hold up. Wait a minute. We're going to hold up and wait a minute. Welcome to the boat. New sub. I love that. Jack Court, how you doing? Hey, Kirsten. Miss Sunrise Dawn. And there's Casey. I call her Charday. Missy Ann. Hey, Russ is here. Care Bear Gratitude. Do you love that? Laura. Hey, my mother bird. Barbara Aldrich. Hey, Relatable Reese. Good to see you, Relatable Reese. I'm glad that you're here.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Happy birthday to her son.
Whose birthday?
I think it was her son's, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. Hux. Oh, I thought you didn't hear you said it is Huxley's birthday. Absolutely. Lisa Trimble, good to see you. It is Huxley's birthday. He's becoming an old man. Next thing you know, we'll be registering for the draft. CMF, good to see you. Blessed to Crochet. How are you, Mary? Miss Sunrise Dawn's here. We're almost there, peeps. Wilford Harry, what's happening? Oh, look at that. Look at that. We're all but caught up, people. So, if this is your first night yard, we can't tell if you're asking a question unless you put 3 big Q's, right? So capitalize those rascals. Put 3 big Q's there. And once you have, spell out your question. We'll be happy to answer it. If you got a wrench, can you put legal live wire court watch? Can we put a link to that, please? If you got a blue wrench, put a link to that. That is Casper's. It's Casper's page.
I got some new videos up there. They're pretty funny. They're fun to watch.
Sweet, I love that.
That's all I'll plug. I don't need to.
No, we'll plug it. Hey, guess what? Yeah, what are you doing? What are you doing, damn computer? Karma Chameleon. 21 days. Is that what that says? 22 days. Goodness gracious. Going on week 4. That has got to feel good. I mean, that's got to feel good. You are that close to being a non-smoker at this point. I think at the end of 1 month, we can officially call you a non-smoker. Proud of you. Hope you're proud of yourself. This is the official participation trophy of the lifeboat. You'll see it says right there. the lifeboat. It used to just be any trophy we found, but somebody actually got me an official one. Lisa Trimble got an official one.
Nice.
Sierra's, good to see you. Grammy 913. Good to see you. Laura, you doing all right? So, somebody asked me earlier, and I didn't know off the top of my head. I was a bit perplexed. Casper, what year did you walk out of the joint? How long have you been out?
Since 2014.
Since 2014. Okay.
Yep.
So you know what's crazy? I was going in while you were coming out. I went in.
Oh, back in?
Yeah, I went back in on March 8th.
Oh,
March 8th.
I did go back in 2018 on a counterfeiting charge, but it was, you don't get any time for counterfeiting.
You don't get any time at all for counterfeiting.
And what's crazy is that I was only counterfeiting to pay for my girlfriend's pill habit.
Nice.
So yeah, she kept coming to the tattoo shop, hey, can I get $100? And I was done with it.
Right.
Like I wasn't using, she was. And
so you just head on over to that color copier and knock you out a quick C note.
Yeah. I ran into enough counterfeiters to figure it out on my own. And
were you cleaning up fives and then printing on them?
Ones. Yeah, I was washing ones.
You know, if you can get the 5 that doesn't have the big 5 on it, right?
Yeah.
So we had a casino in Reno, and it was a really old casino, and it wouldn't take the new 5s, right? The machines wouldn't take them. So they would have stacks of the old 5s, and you could go in there and get a ton of them. And the fellas would wash those because there's a watermark on it, right? The paper's cool. There's a watermark on it. So when they mark it or they hold it up, I mean, it's not the correct watermark.
Yeah.
But it gets the job done. No, I'm shocked at how little time that carries. How many years did each of you guys serve in prison? Sometimes that's tough to answer because we do this installment plan. But
right.
But give me a ballpark, gentlemen. How long did you think you did?
18.
18 years.
I did 14.
Yeah, I feel a lot
that's
better.
Not counting county time and all that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel a lot better when I'm around you guys. You guys need to hang out with me more often because usually I'm really bummed out. But when you guys say that, I'm like, yeah, I didn't do that much time. Not county jail and all of that. I got about 13 in. But the problem with that is you get 13 in and you don't count county jail. You got 15 in, right? Minimum, because the feds. Like when I went in on the not the bank robbery because I didn't understand the feds, but when I went in on my 912 and my 924, the pews, right? I went in and I mean as fast as you could possibly do it. They were putting the cuffs on. I'm like, I'd like to change my plea to guilty. I went through that as fast as you could, and it still took forever. It's just such a slow process, man. Such a slow process.
90 days for the PSI. And
90 days for the PSI. And
I can save you the trouble right now.
Where's the PSI? Well, you know what's really funny that you say that? Did they ever use your old one?
They did, yeah.
They would not do that for me, man. And it was only
they used it and then they added. I still did the interview. It still took 90 days.
They interviewed girls that I dated in high school. I'm not kidding you, man.
Wow.
They got so into it, dude. I was like, what the hell, man? Robert Hall, good to see you. Valerie 102. What's happening? It's pretty crazy how into it they get. You know what I mean? Like, for real.
Yeah.
Are the elites that pay off the lawyer, isn't that still public record to see who it was? Oh, I see what you're saying. So the people that are settling with the attorney in Houston is what you're talking about, right? You're talking about the guy in the Diddy case, because there's a guy in Houston named Busby. He's got 130 cases that he's bringing against P. Puff Daddy Diddy Diddler Combs. And a lot of them, 40 some odd, according to him, are underage. So it makes you wonder, how can he take a payoff on these things without turning it over to the officials? And I don't think he will. I really don't. I think what these people are doing is buying a little bit more time to maybe run like hell. Because Diddy, one day, his lawsuit was up one day. He settled the following day. They still looked at that thing, saw what was on it, and went, oh, no. There are people who are going to read those and look for crimes, I promise. And it isn't going to be hard to look for it on the Diddy case at all.
You know what's crazy? People always ask me like, "Hey, have you ever tattooed on anyone famous?" And I don't know, you probably don't remember this, but and I always say there's two famous people, lots of porn stars, because I worked at a place, tattoo shop in Glendale, in San Fernando, California. It's like,
That's San Fernando Valley is the porn capital of Earth.
yeah, and but there's I always say Ronda Rousey and all her roommates and P Diddy, because I used to tattoo on P Diddy's head chef. Like
Wow.
his chef, you know, that works at his house. He had a food truck down in Venice Beach. But anyway, he took me I was tattooing him at Diddy's house in LA, and Diddy came in and he had a portrait of his grandmother. And so I tattooed his grandmother's name underneath. But I was his chef's tattoo artist, but
Wow, that's crazy, man.
yeah.
You drilled on the diddler.
I drilled on the diddler. It's crazy. I don't know if I want to admit that anymore or not. I mean, but you know, it's
on the bright side, you were probably wearing gloves.
He was wearing all white and was really greasy.
You know, my favorite tattoo story of all time. I had a cellmate that was a tattoo artist when I was at FCI Terre Haute. And you were at FCI Terre Haute. It's an old prison, dude. Like the wind blows through it's just disgusting. But it's not set up the way other cells are. It's kind of a weird thing. It's in a U shape. It's way different than most yards that you've been on. But I had a cellmate that used to do tattoos, and I came back from my job. I was a porter that swept the halls, and when I came back, he was nodding out on Smack. Right, bought it. Somebody got him 100 paper, and he's tattooing on a guy, and he's nodding out like this, and the dude's got his shirt off, and I come walking in, and it's a CO. The CO's got his shirt on the table, and my boy's nodding out on him like this while he's working on it, like line going out, like, hey, let's call it a night. Time to call it a night. That used to crack me up. I love telling that story, man, because I was like, what the hell is this dude doing in here? And then, you know, try to write me up for a bag of wine.
Right, exactly.
Theo, try to write me up for. I'm going to be like, take that shirt off, boss.
Right.
Did any of you read Reuben Hurricane Carter's book? I did.
Man, I haven't.
Yeah, I figured I would have bet. You know, I would have lost that bet because that's on all the book cards. I just assumed that you would have gotten.
No, I've read every.
You are a reader, man. You are a reader.
Yeah,
that's why I was saying if I had to bet, I absolutely would have taken the bet that you had read it.
So Casper, how long were you at SFV?
Man, I tattooed there for like a couple of years, but I've lived there, and my grandmother lives there.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm from Orange County and then San Bernardino.
Okay, yeah. I grew up in Torrance.
Okay.
Yeah, Redondo Beach. Yeah.
Redondo. I live right there at the Duck Ponds in Venice.
Yeah.
And Manhattan Beach.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, right on the walk.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, it's beautiful there.
4 houses down from the pier.
Yep. I used to draw caricatures of people down in Redondo Beach Pier. I went to West High in Torrance. I went to Redondo Beach Union in Torrance. You know, all my drinking years were down in Hermosa Beach, Manhattan Beach.
Right.
Yeah. Rusted California state time.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Years there. Yeah.
Heck yeah.
So here we go.
All them.
The Department of Justice report on Fulton County in Atlanta. Oddly enough, I did a show on it. I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before, but I actually did a show on it. It's one of the most disturbing. I swear to God, dude, pick the nastiest joint you've ever been in your life, right? And multiply it by 30. You know? Like, you know what? FCI Terre Haute's a disgusting facility as far as just being gross. Yeah. It's a great place to do time. It's a great place to do time, but it is a disgusting building. It was built in the 30s, and the wind straight blows through it. Really,
yeah,
really
I didn't see that, but I cover some judges out of Fulton County because they still do Zoom on some of their stuff.
How about between sentences, gentlemen?
That's where I did county time. I wasn't on parole.
None really, except for my between my drug trafficking and the counterfeiting, it was like a year and a half, 2 years.
So I got my first.
But I did. I lots of county time, you know,
in between.
in between those. Yeah.
I didn't do any of that. I honestly didn't. Like I was 37 before I ever went to jail for anything. I mean, for real, for any length of time. I've been picked up for being drunk or whatever and spent the night. But then by then it was going off the rails, and I started stealing and getting arrested for that. And then you got to fence everything you steal. So I just thought, you know what? We'll just knock out the middleman and start knocking off banks.
Go right here.
Right. So
Right
after
there.
the
My first time in jail, I didn't go to jail for the first time until I was 29.
no?
The first time, yeah, my first felony, I was 29.
So
I
you
got
broke bad luck
19,
too.
yeah.
I'll be damned.
Yeah.
I remember getting pulled over when I was 17 or 18 on my bike and going to juvie, because this is when cops carried billy clubs.
Oh,
yeah.
And he pulled it out and said, "You know what this is?" And I said, "No." And stick. And he goes, "No, it's the truth serum." And he hit me across the back with it. I got a hold of it and I broke his shin.
Oh, that'll get you. That'll make you popular.
Well, I had 3 warrants. They took me to the station and beat the dog tar out of me and kicked me out the back door because I was so beat up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
They have tricks with those sticks too, like like jujitsu tricks, you know, or whatever.
Yeah, especially if it's the T one, forget about it.
Yeah, the T one, yeah.
Those things are vicious.
They
You know
how
what?
to like do things and wrap it.
They carry, they do wrist locks with them that are vicious. They carry those at Lewisburg. How about that crap?
Damn.
Every cop at Lewisburg has a billy club on his hip and a taser. It's like a little overkill, man. A little overkill.
Yeah,
I've been tased. The first time I got tased, I peed my pants.
Nice.
Well, I mean,
you were out drinking.
Yeah. No, I was standing and I broke every sprinkler in this unit, and it was like county jail. I went through, it was 9/11, and I took my towel and broke every single sprinkler. It was bam, 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 broke all the sprinklers. And I just stood in the middle and in all this water, and they were like, get down. And they shot me with a rubber bullet. And that was nothing. I mean, it hurt. I had a big bruise, but you know, I was just like, yeah, come get me. And they tased me, and I know I peed my pants. I mean, I was all wet. I'm guessing I felt like I did.
I'm sure of it.
But that was the only time. I've been tased probably 7 times after that. I've been tased with a shield.
Tell me you don't love a taser. I mean, compared to pepper spray, I'd let you tase me 7 times.
Oh, I would take a taser a million times over pepper spray.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it only hurts.
Jumps right out of me when I got pepper sprayed. Yeah.
This is no joke, right? When I was in the county jail waiting to go away on the first Fed rip, there were 4 of us that worked intake, and we were never locked down. We were all waiting to go to the feds. They knew we were going to be there a year, so they make you a porter. And we would play cards, and there was a young cop that came over one day and goes, "Hey, I got a can of chew I bought." And he's like, and it's citrus. He's like, "I hate it. You guys want it?" And we're like, "Hell yes, dude. Are you kidding me?" And he goes, "All right, but one of you's got to take a tase for doing it." And he said, "A dry tase. I'm not going to shoot you. Will you just take the thing off the end and put it right to your body?" And I said, "I'll do it." I'm like, "I ain't tripping. I'll do it. Go ahead, hit me." So I was sitting on a stool. He hit me. I fell off it onto the ground. You know, I got up, I sat back down. I was like, "All right, we'll play cards." And the guy next to me is like, "Nah, man, I'm not going to let Rock go down." He's like, "If he's going to do it, I'm going to do it." So there's 3 white guys and a black guy. And when we got to the last white dude went, and he goes, "Oh, I know how you guys are. You'll be saying that N-word, right?" He didn't do this. I was like, "Come on, give it to me, boss." But I remember thinking back on that afterwards, like, man, they got cameras in there. This dude's literally just tasing us in the middle of the day room.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. I've been hit by 4 or 5 shields on cell extraction.
Shock shields. So for those who don't know what they're referring to, when they have to do a cell extraction, right? When they come in and want to get you out of there, they don't want to get attacked. So these guys come in their Ninja Turtle suits, but they got these shields that are big clear glass shields, and they've got these strips of metal on them, and they're this just a big ass taser with a shield attached to it, and it's a different kind of shock too. It sucks. It really does.
We would back the toilet up and pour shampoo all over the floor because we knew they're coming.
And then spider web it.
Oh yeah. Web the cell. I've done that too.
Web the cell out. So for those of you that don't know what that is, right? There's a door handle on the inside of the cell, right? So and the door opens out. So if you get sheets and you rip them into thin strips and start spinning them at all, you make rope out of the things, right? And get these gnarly ropes and you wet them. And I promise you, and then you put them everywhere you could possibly get them. You go from the top of the bunk to the, like a spider web, so that when the cops come in, they got to try to get through that stuff. And then you take a bottle of shampoo with water in it, shake it up and squeeze it all over the floor, so that when they come in, and what it does is, without fail, get them so pissed off that when it comes time to take you out of there, they're going to beat the crap out of you. But it's good for a laugh.
It's good for a laugh.
It really is.
It breaks up the monotony.
The prison is so. This is frightening. I don't know what country you're in. That prison has so many men that are awaiting a charge. Apparently, men are waiting years to be indicted. That would really be a bummer, man.
In Fulton County, speaking of Fulton County, I'll be monitoring some of those court hearings, and the judges will be like, the defense attorneys will be like, hey, my client's been here, 900 and something days without an indictment. Can we get some relief? Can we get it indicted? Can we see a discovery? Can we get him bail? And the judge will be like, hey, what's the holdup? But like, oh, we're still, we're backed up. We're trying to get this. And
isn't that a habeas corpus violation? I mean, don't you have to get that crap done within a certain period of time?
You would think, man. Like every time I watch it, I just I'm just dumbfounded.
I might be stupid. I always thought you had 72 hours. You had 72 hours to bring him in front of the court and indict him. If that's happening in America, man, that is so freaking
That is
scary.
happening in Fulton County. Yeah.
Well, that is the worst prison.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna put together a bunch of videos or like just some clips.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. I'd love to do that. What's the best prison? What's the prison you like the best?
God, that's hard. That's a hard one because I liked each one of them. I liked for a different reason. Some you could drink in. Terre Haute, you could drink.
Or you could.
Pollock. I got pulled out by the warden one time, and I was straining wine, and he's like, "Hey, we need to see you down here." I was like, "Hold on," and I'm finished straining my wine, and then I've been in prisons where like I could be mixing my shot of heroin, on my locker, and the cop would be like, "Hey, whatever." I'd just be like, "Yep. 1 second." And then,
the higher custody levels, they don't want to stop dudes from doing stuff like that.
And then almost everywhere in the BOP, I could tattoo without write up. Almost, it just depends.
If you tell them, if you have the respect to just go down and tell the cops coming in.
And to make sure you have people watching, not for the unit officer, but watching for a lieutenant if they're going to come
rotate.
in.
So I loved Sheridan. I was sober at Sheridan, right? Sherdice. I was sober there, and I had just started to be sober, right? So I'd never been on a prison yard sober. It was a very, very different experience. Prior to that, I probably would have said Victorville, not the Pen, because the Pen sucked, but directly across the street from the Pen are two FCIs, and both of them do Unicor. One does trash, and the other one worked on Humvees. And I was in the trash prison. I didn't work Unicor, but I liked it because I was a degenerate, and you could get $60, $70 G's on that yard. No joke.
So crazy.
Yeah, it's so crazy, man. And it was everywhere. I mean, everywhere. People were throwing it at you. I mean, you pay me next Christmas. I don't care when you pay me. It was awful, man. But I was kind of in that mindset, so that was a pretty good time. What about you, Russ? What's your favorite joint?
I would probably have to say there were two. Chino Central. When we first get there, we went to Parole or West Yard or East Yard or wherever. Before you went to your pen, you were doing your processing.
Right.
Yeah, I think Borrego Hall was good. The West Yard. And then Ironwood, because I opened Ironwood.
Nice.
Yeah, Ironwood was good. There was A Yard was the only one open. I was second bus there. We had everything, everything was just sweet there.
Yeah.
There was, we had the weight pile, the 300 club,
Yeah, the state did that. The state did that.
Yeah, we had a 300 club too, where I was at.
500 club.
where we were, Casper, was pretty damn sweet. You know what I mean?
Little short black dudes, man. Little short black dudes.
Their arms are that long.
Yeah, there are little short arms. They put up 500 pounds, and the guy won't hit. You'd never see him on the weight pile for 2 years, and then they'll be like, "Hey, come out to the yard and show these fools." And he'll just be out of shape. All right, man, just put it on. He's like, you want a spot? No, I don't need a spot. And just boom.
Yep.
You're just like, what the heck?
Yeah, we had a
Man.
guy at the state facility that I was at, and this dude like had records and crap for it. He was a freak, and his arms were about that long. I'm not kidding you, man.
Yeah.
But he'd put the stuff on the bar would be bending like this, like you're just waiting for the thing to snap, and then he'd pause rep that baby at the bottom. But he literally was a freak, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Hey,
had
welcome, Aaron Card. We're glad that you're here. I think you'll dig it. They really do. It's a great group of people. Question for Casper.
Go ahead,
Casper.
Russ.
No, it's all right. It's
Okay.
trivial.
Is there a tattoo artist that you think is doing next level stuff?
Ooh,
Man. Yeah, there's a few. There's a guy in Spain that always blows me away, and I'm trying to think of his name. That's why he does the 10 master. It's like the 10 master school for tattoo artists. He's insanely insane. He's a little slow. Not that it's a race to do a tattoo, but he's a little slow. And then, but other than that, next level. Yeah, maybe me. You know,
the dude that did the dog with the face mask on.
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about. You were
yeah,
yeah. That was pretty disgusting work. I mean, that was absolutely sick. Like even the spray coming out of the can was. I mean, that's touched.
Yeah, but there's so many great tattoo artists out there, brother. That it's so hard. It's so hard to say. It really is, but especially with the pens now. You know, any artist can pretty much pick up tattooing and after, you know, a year of trial and error, figure it out pretty fast, like how skin works, you know, not so much how the pen works or the machine works. But before, you had to know the machine, and like you could do the same thing and the machine would act different. You would think you were doing the same thing, but the machine would act different. So you would have to know how to tune it up for everybody's skin type. But with the pens, it's kind of like you figure it out pretty fast, and it's almost like cheating, but you still have to be an artist, of course.
Right.
And,
you still have to have game.
Yeah.
What would you use to make juice in jail? I assume you're talking about juice that can get you hammered, and you would not believe all of the stuff that you can make it out of. Ketchup.
Everything from ketchup to beets.
To beets.
That beet wine is my all-time favorite wine.
Really?
Like it's because it's got legs.
Yeah, it does have legs, but I can't stand that taste.
You could get 2 pounds of sugar on a gallon, and let it cook off, and not be impatient, because everyone's always impatient.
Everybody is always impatient. Come down tonight.
That's why I like to have my batches, staggered.
You're going at any given time.
Yeah, that way I wouldn't be impatient, because if I just have one batch and I'm waiting for that batch to get drunk, I'm pulling bottles out, 2 days early, pulling bottles out a day early, and
and then watering it down so that you can sell it to the next guy. I'm just saying it happens.
But watermelon wine is definitely the best tasting wine.
Oh yeah,
I think grapefruit was always the one that I used to like. Give us some,
and I love the taste of
music. Grapefruit.
That's what guys used to tattoo on, was grapefruit to practice.
Oh
when they run out of space on their knee.
My legs.
A lot of legs tats.
Yeah, my legs are covered.
Do you know anything about the original judge from the Young Thug trial, Judge Granville?
No, I came in a little late for that trial, so I decided not to cover it because it was already day 100.
Something? It was a cluster, of biblical proportion.
Yeah, but I am going to go back. I am going to go back and watch it and put together a like a documentary on it. I'm doing 2 documentaries right now, editing them, but I am going to do a whole documentary on it and just give my my 2 cents as a. It's the perfect example.
It's the perfect example, in my opinion, of a prosecutor that every single day they showed up, it was like, okay, what are we going to do today? I mean, honestly, they seemed so disorganized that
It's crazy.
all of the time. Yeah. I mean, normally you see people and it's just like, it's a regimented thing. They come in, they know what they're doing, and they're hammering.
Like the Murdoch trial. The Murdoch
Like the
trial.
Murdoch
was
trial.
Bam, bam,
Perfect
bam,
example.
Bam. Yeah.
Perfect example. You know,
I
that
wish I
fool
would have
had
covered that one too.
Yeah,
I was
700
hoping. I was
post-it
hoping
notes.
for the retrial. I thought there was going to be one because they did a motion in November or no, it is November. When did they do the motion? Well, they were supposed to be a retrial in November. They did the motion, but the judge denied it or something. I can't remember what happened, but
He's getting wasted in there every day, man. He's filming himself in there.
I
getting
loved what you said the other day when you said, I think he's doing okay in there. I absolutely agree with you. I think he's a rock star in there.
He's a rock star in there. They don't care about his crime. He's got a ton of money and he gets high. That dude's a rock star. And every single person that knows him goes, hey man, can you take a look at my case? You just tell me what you think on this. Dude, he was an amazing lawyer before he turned scumbag.
He was.
Are there any special days where you get a Cadillac, where you get some fancy cappuccino?
Yeah, the hot chocolate
lattes in prison. The fellas call that a Cadillac.
Yeah, hot chocolate and coffee and cream.
Yeah, Christmas.
No, yeah. Maybe melt a Three Musketeer in there or something.
Oh, been there, done that. Been there, done that.
But
yeah, it's my favorite stuff.
I got hooked on avalanches. Do you guys know with the Pepsi or a Coke with a shot of coffee in it?
No.
Oh man, I got hooked on those, and
that's just wrong, man.
I would drink one every day at the 4 o'clock count because I get tired at the 4 o'clock. We weren't allowed to take naps, you know.
You were nodding out at the 4 o'clock.
Right.
Yeah.
Call it whatever you want, brother. Keep that real.
5.
Yeah. You've been drilling on people all day long.
Yeah.
Getting paid off in papers. We know what's going on.
Yeah.
What are some of the funniest or weirdest things that have ever happened in prison? This is a great question. I'll tell you what. I'll lead off.
Okay.
I was at a yard, and it had a Unicorn facility. So the scissors that they cut fabric with in Unicorn are about that long, right? Not the regular ones. The ones that the fellas carry are about this big. But the guys that cut the fabric, they're like that long, and they broke at work. So a pair broke. They threw them in the trash, and a guy got it at one side of it out of the hot trash, right? So he had the part that your hand goes in like this, and I'm talking about a butcher blade about that long, right? So I'm in the day room, and you know when something bad's about to happen? You just get that your spidey senses are going nuts, right? Yeah. So I'm sitting there with a friend of mine, and I'm like, oh, crap, dude, it's about to go off. And he's like, yeah, man. And he starts backing up into his cell. And right about the time he does, this dude starts running across the day room. I mean, like dead sprint. And he pulls this thing out, and he drills it into a dude who's sitting on the telephone. Right now, before anybody sheds a tear, this dude had an affection for kids that everything he had coming. But so it went right through him, right? Didn't hit an organ, but went right through him and stuck him to the wall like a lawn dart, right? They couldn't get the blade out of the wall. So you got every time they try to pull this thing, the guy's squealing and making.
Yeah,
but it was, and I know it sounds really dark, but it was probably the funniest 2 or 3 minutes I've ever seen, at least in prison. It was hysterically funny.
Yeah,
I think mine was at West Yard. Other than seeing that guy get his head taken off with that weight, I mean that wasn't necessarily funny, but it was the guy coming out of the chow hall with the turkey baster temperature gauge sticking out of his neck. He had a bad jacket too.
Yeah.
So somebody found out about his little diaper.
I've seen lots of stabbings and people getting stabbed. So I'll just tell a weird story. What I found was to be the weirdest thing in the feds, and this happened multiple times, is that you get like these high power white supremacist dudes, and I'm in no way, shape, or form, talking mad shit about all white supremacists,
right.
There's some dudes that fall in accidentally, like kind of like how I did, and then, drop out. But there's who end up, you find out that they're gay or something, which, I have gay brothers, gay friends, and I know that's like if you're woke, you'd say, well, that's a racist statement to say you have a gay friend or a gay, or a black friend. But I guess, and I'm going to stop, justifying what I'm saying too, but the story basically the weirdest thing in the feds is that there's a lot of white supremacist dudes who, when people find out they're gay, because you can't be white and be gay in the feds.
Yeah, nope. It's a
no.
real problem.
Yeah, or
You know,
probably in California,
No.
on any like level 4 yard, or maybe even 3. I don't know about the 2 or 1, but they always sell up like in the shoe or in PC with a gay black guy. And it's like they just can't wait to have sexual relations with a black guy, and and they got swastikas on them, and it is
this is actually a thing. This is actually 100% a thing.
Oh no!
Yeah, the black dudes must just love it. They're like, yeah, you white boy, blah blah blah. They just gotta love it, man. But
so I got a question for you. There was a dude. Johnson Bay, JB Johnson Bay. He was at FCI. Oh yeah, of course you did, right? Because they're all bays. But he was at FCI Terre Haute, and they brought him across the street. He had his nose bit off, gone. So you would notice it because his nose was a completely different color than the rest of his face. Again, probably not funny, but it was pretty funny to me at the time.
Yeah, it's kind of funny right now.
It is. Come on, keep it real. And again, he spit it under my desk. The guy that bit it off spit it under my desk. And if that's not weird enough, right? Because that's pretty friggin' weird. But if that's not weird enough, Drew Peterson picked it up.
Oh, yeah.
Drew Peterson picked it up in a tissue and walked over and went, in case you guys want to put this back on.
Hey, was it you that was in with the Girls Gone Wild guy in Reno?
I was.
Yeah.
I was.
Yeah,
Joe Francis.
Right.
Joe Francis.
Yeah.
Yep. I was in the county jail with Joe Francis. And when he got in there, he bought new television sets for the unit we were in. And they started to complain. So he bought new televisions for the entire place. And they started to talk about him taking care of people. He bought a Cartier watch for a woman that worked there, a guard. Mm-hmm. And all of this became a real big deal. Like people got in trouble. But yeah, he was a great dude to live with, right? He was doing big things. And I had at the time I was engaged to an attorney, right, that was working my case. So she would bring up she would hook me up with enough money to constantly buy food in there, or they had a short order cook. So I could like have hamburgers and stuff like that. And when I'm first moving in, I'm thinking I'm bringing all of my stuff like I'm a pimp. And I go in there and this dude's got brown paper bags in his cell, like full of groceries. Yeah. And I thought, oh, I'm not doing anything. Like I'm a punk. This is kind of going on, dude. Yeah. Like he was serious about it. I mean it. How many murders did each of you see while you were inside?
I actually know the number of this. I actually witnessed about 13.
Wow.
And that's including officers. That's 3 officers. I seen one officer get murdered. I know you didn't ask for a story, but I seen one officer get murdered, and like it was during count. He was, shutting the doors. Everyone's running, getting hot water, running up to the cell, getting coffee. And this guy came out and just started beating this dude up. And I mean, he was beating this guy up for so long that we were just like, man, he's going to kill this guy. I mean, he was actually,
he couldn't get to the deuces.
Yeah. He never got to the deuces. He was actually out cold, and he was just like lining up, running and kicking him, stepping back, running and kicking him. And that was the craziest murder where I actually said a prayer, and I didn't believe in God at the time. I'm saved now. But I actually prayed for that officer, that he would live. And then the other craziest murder I seen a guy get a piece of sharpened rebar through his head, and they took it with his head attached to it on a handle, and then like beat his head into the corner of a door jamb. And just held it like, and just bam, bang, you know what I'm saying? And those are, I go to therapy over them,
I was going to say I don't know anybody, right, that doesn't have some stories like that.
And then I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, go.
The very first murder I seen was, I was just standing in line. I had just gotten to the yard, standing in line, and I was in front of this fat black guy, and he was just, huffing and puffing, blah. And this little kid just came up and stabbed him with an ice pick. And he was like, hey, man. And he's like, oh, man. And he just like took 4 steps and fell and was gone.
That's the scariest weapon to me in the inside, man. Like
Yeah.
you take the roller off of a typewriter, like those ice
Yeah.
picks, because it will go straight
And
through you. You know
I
what I mean?
couldn't believe it, man. And I was like, whoa, where the hell? That's when I realized, okay, I'm somewhere crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
But
my number is 8. I saw 8 of them, and like the guy that took that in the chest, that's not one of them. Most of them were cases where like 3 or 4 guys jumped on somebody at once with knives. And it's the craziest thing you've ever seen, because they just seem like it's like they're trying to get as many stabs in. Someone's paying them $10 a piece. They're all trying to see if they can outdo the next dude. But the only one that really got me was and I've done shows on it, but when I was in the SMU, the guy across the hall says, like, you know, they're never directly across the hall, like right here, and we had bigger windows, and I was looking in on him, and he was they called him Chihuahua. He was like 4'7" or 4'8". And his cellmate's your size, Casper. Like, he's, you know, big dude, and he's stomping on him, like literally just stomping him. And you know, this is at Lewisburg. There's not a button in there, right? So if you're watching it, you can't hit a button. And I said to my cellie, I'm like, I'm just going to start kicking the door, dude. We got to get somebody up here. Like, this is just friggin' ridiculous. It was like, dude, this is going on for so long, and you're hearing the noise. I'm like, dude, I'm going to kick the door. And he's like, you can't do that, dude. He's like, if you kick the door and we go out to rec tomorrow, they're going to tell me to come back and kill you. Right? And the 2 of us are going to, he's like, you can't do that. He's like, put your headset in, crank up the tunes, man. He's like, you can't do that. And I was listening to a football game. It was friggin' awful. It wasn't loud enough, but that one, that's the one that, that's the nightmare one I have. And I go to therapists too, like, all the time. Yeah. You get PTSD in there, whether you like it or not. What about you, Russ?
I think it's right around maybe just a few more than what Casper's seen. And I'll let Casper know that my uncles are all affiliated. You know, I've got 5 uncles that ride bikes, put it that way.
Okay. Yep.
And when I went to Chino the first time, that's the 10-year bit. I got in there. My uncle was over there on West Yard. That's where they sent us. And he had come over and brought me some, you know, carton of cigarettes. And
little care package.
Welcome kit.
Yeah.
Care package.
Yep. Taking care of his nephew. And then I walked to the day room, which is at the end of the building, because it was a dorm building. And at the end, you have that day room where the TV is. And right outside of it was the weight pile. And I watched another guy take a 45-pound dumbbell while the guy was benching, just take the guy's head off. And that's the one that sticks with me.
Yeah.
But the others,
absolutely horrific.
Yeah. The others I've seen, and I can't say if I've been a part of them, but but I've seen quite a few, and it's probably right around there. You've seen, if not just a few more.
The crazy thing is that it's just part of this, right? I mean, if you ask a normal person, have you ever seen somebody murdered? Right? The answer is going to be, you know, probably 100 out of 100 times no, right? Never saw anything like that. But if you ask somebody that's been to the joint, unless they just did all of their time on, like, you know, camps or lows or whatever, there's no chance that you know, that he didn't see some. And if you added to that the number of people that unalived themselves, forget about it. I mean, I saw more of that than I saw people that somebody else did it. You know? That was, in fact, when I was at FCI Victorville at the 2, we had 4 dudes do it in a week. Yeah, crazy, and it was all because of that deuce. There was some really crazy K2 in there, and it was making people just real dark, and these guys were all taking themselves out. What percentage of unaliving in prison is because of debt?
Oh my God! In state or Fed? I wouldn't know Fed.
Yeah,
State I would.
I would say in the Feds, not as much as you might think. Most of the people that get unalived, it has something to do with either a gang affiliation, right, where they're killing their own people over stupid stuff, or you know, and if not, it has to do with the fact that these people try to fly under the radar. They tell on people and they go, you know what? I'm from California and they're putting me out in Fort Dix. I got nothing to worry about. And it's not that kind of a place. You know, at the BOP, when people go through any of the transfer centers, they pull out their paperwork and they'll go, hey, what yard you going to? Let me give you 4 names, right? I know people on that yard that are stone cold rats, and you break it all down, and it gets people back there to start looking and to start like really digging in. And that's how people, that's what I saw. That's how most of the people got unalived or
I seen it, and you would think it when it is over dead, it's never about the amount.
It's the principle.
Always about it's always about the principle of it, because I've seen guys get unalived
It's about that.
for one stamp, one postage stamp, 45 cents.
The guy who got killed that I saw was over a bag of Keefy coffee. $1.75.
I hope it was the yellow bag.
It was.
You know what I mean? If you're going to take somebody out, I hope it wasn't that red garbage.
No,
the red bag, the powder, the gunpowder.
Dude, the gunpowder. It's the grossest crap on earth, dude. But it was cheap, 99 cents.
You still had to filter that through a sock.
Terrible stuff. Cowboy coffee.
Cowboy
John Wayne. John Wayne. Mud.
Mud. Last night, you talked about how they brought drugs in, and I was wondering if there was anyone who got busted for bringing it in. Now they did it. Oh yeah.
Daily.
Great
every
question.
visit. Yeah.
Almost every weekend somebody gets busted.
Yeah.
Because they're really bad at it, right? They're really bad at it. But the people that are good at it, you never know. I mean, you really don't. But I was in visiting where a woman walked in to visit her man, and I was married at the time. And my wife said to me, "I'll bet you $500 that girl's smuggling something in here." And when I turned to look at her, she was like this. I went, "Oh no, dude!" Like, I mean, she was shaking like a vibrator, you know. I was like, "Oh no, dude." Yeah, and before her guy even got in, they were like, "Hey, can you come here?" And they can't force you to go in that room. So, and she was like, "No, I'm leaving. And I was blown away. I'm like, they're watching her walk out the door. I was like, how does that work? But apparently they cannot stop the person. Most of the time, the person will voluntarily walk into that room, though.
Yeah.
You know, they don't realize that they can walk out of there. They don't have a right to search you. In theory, they're not supposed to do that.
I was at FDC SeaTac when I was a holdover there. I was there almost 18 months. I was there a long time as a holdover. But there was this guy, this old white guy. He would get tobacco and heroin in the visit, but he was just, he would just, put Vaseline on his crack and go to visit, and then, and hoop it because, but he would pull out logs sometime, and I'd be like, man, you got to be ashamed of yourself, man.
Right?
I'm like,
you know what?
How are you doing that? They were like
horrible story.
Sausages, man. I was like,
at Victorville, they had a kid that was muling the stuff in at Victorville, right? He was probably 25, 26, and he had a bit of one of those lists that makes people sound like this. So a lot of people gave this dude a lot of crap anyway. But the shot caller for the yard was waiting for this dude to drop out, what the dude, and right. And I'm not kidding you, right? So when it came out, everyone's like, all right. He's like, get out of my cell. And the dude's like, I got another one.
Oh,
I swear to you, dude. Everyone in there was like, oh, this dude's a pro, dude. He's a pro, man.
Yeah.
Like a 2-year supply, dude, to the hoop. It never made sense to me. Like, so normally what they do is someone will take a Snickers bar, right? And they'll take it home. They'll cut a hole in the top of it, take that little piece out, hollow it out, put a bunch of dope in there in balloons, right? Double ballooned or triple ballooned. And then they put the top back on, melt it a little, like a blowtorch, stick it in the freezer. Right? Then they take it, put it back in the sleeve, and glue the thing shut. And they'll put that up their sleeve or any place. And when they go in and put cash in the machines to get out things like candy bars and soups or whatever, when you reach in, you drop that thing out, because now you have to walk up to the cop with everything you just bought on a tray. They don't touch it; they just want to look at it.
Yep.
And then that's the dessert. So you don't want to eat that till the very end, because after you are done eating it, you got about 30 minutes to get that stuff back up this way, or it's going to go out that way.
Yeah.
And there have been cases where the fellas didn't want to wait 3 days and went in there and got it.
Oh yeah.
Right? That has happened to multiple people. Even like one of the murders that I know of while I was in there was somebody that they thought that the dude had actually passed the stuff out, and what they were getting salty about it. And he's like, I have not passed it.
Or there'll be one missing, like one gets stuck.
Yep.
There's supposed to be 13. It's someone else's drugs.
Yep.
That gave to, the street handle that gave to the guys, he's getting
exactly
for bringing it. And, but one's
they'll go in there and get it.
they'll go in there and
Promise
get
you,
it.
they'll go in there and get it because these guys,
Yeah.
a lot of them are doing life. They don't care. They just want that.
Yep.
They want to be able to forget where they are for 8 hours.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
I mean, that's why people are doing H. I promise you. They want to
Yeah.
forget where they are for 8 hours. Casper, what do you think about the Karen Reed case?
Oh man, I'm kind of involved in that case a little bit, not in the actual case, but the turtle guy. I'm in a community that that he used to be in, but now they're anti-turtle. It's one of the dudes, but anyway, but the girl in my community is good friends with Karen Reed. So
wow.
do I think she's innocent? I don't know. I don't know. It's crazy. She seems innocent. You know, do you guys know anything about?
I do. I
her
do.
husband was
I
killed.
don't.
Yeah.
But
the turtle guy makes the case makes the case what it is. I mean, that what makes that really interesting is that there's a cast of characters involved. This
because he's terrorizing a town. You know, him and
For
his
real.
followers. But
Yep, for real, he's a menace.
but I haven't watched too much of it. I'm just on this community that, well, I wouldn't say I'm in it anymore really, but they're kind of involved in the legal community. So
Nice.
yeah.
So that's a case that's it's out there, man, for real. So
That Richard Allen's doing some crazy stuff from what I understand.
no
Out here.
question. Yep. Last night you talked about. Oh, I just did that one. Hold on a second. Sorry. Have you ever been locked up abroad?
Oh, yeah, that's from my wife.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause she said she says you never talk about your, because I
That's
was locked
funny.
up down in Panama. Yeah.
Tijuana.
Oh, really? Yeah, I've been to
Yeah.
TJ too.
I've been to TJ.
I
spent some
La
time in TJ.
Mesa Pueblito. Yeah.
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 I went.
too.
I did time there just briefly, and then at the border crossing at Nuevo Laredo.
Yeah.
And that one was hysterically funny because the guy that I was with was an ass through the entire process, right? And we're sitting in this cell, and when we first get in there, there's an igloo cooler in the corner, right? And I said to the cop, I'm like, "Hey man, you got cups for that cooler?" And he goes, "It's to piss in." I went, "Okay, then. I'm cool on the cups." You know what I mean? There was no facilities in there, no water in there, no nothing. He's like, "No, man, that's the toilet." I was like, "Gotcha."
Yeah.
Yes.
They let us out and kept him.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah. They let everybody go. And I was in his car, right? So we're out there. And as we drove away, the seats, they didn't even like bolt the seats all the way back down. So as I'm driving away and shifting, it's like the seats buckling. Oh, dude, they trashed his car and did not do a whole lot to put it back together. We weren't smuggling anything.
But
But we were wasted.
So yeah, when I was down in Panama, it was crazy because it was like a cage. And these kids would come by and they would sell these little mini bananas, you know, or plantains or whatever.
Plantains. Yeah.
But you could have cash, and so you could give them, you know, there was like a quarter for like 4 bananas. But what we ate in there, and there was a guy in there that had a cell phone, so that was kind of cool. But what we ate in there, it was basically at night they would just you would get like rice with this like, you know, fish water. But but if you wanted at night, you could get a fish head. Put on your plate, which is
hook a brother up, dude.
Yeah,
you can eat that fish head.
Oh man, I smashed them. They were delicious. You
can eat that fish head, bro.
Yeah, I smashed them.
Does it have both eyes?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna draw the line. You know what? I shouldn't say that. I probably neck them.
Man. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've eaten some pretty nasty stuff when it gets to.
Only when I'm drunk, I'll do that.
You guys, either of you ever had Nutriloaf?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Because I was holding Trace hostage, so they put me on Nutriloaf.
Yeah. I did 14 days. 14 days on the loaf. Man. Where they take, so if you guys are unfamiliar with Nutriloaf, they take everything you're going to eat all day. And they take it and put it into this little like bread, like a bread pan. And then they cook this thing just like it's a loaf of bread, except it's greasy. And so you get it and it looks like a brownie, but there's like, pieces of corn in it, or you're just looking at this going, oh my God, dude, I can't eat this. Like, there's no way I can eat this. Oh, you can eat it. You can eat it. You just got to get,
Hey, you know what else is crazy? And to go back to the abroad thing, down in TJ and La Mesa, there was my celly. He's like, hey, I need you to go down there and get some weed, some mota. And I'm like, okay.
Mota.
And he's like, you got it? I was like, yeah, I got it. He's like, it's only like $5. So I give the guy the $5. I'm waiting for him to hand me a baggie, and he's just like looking at me. And I was like, what? He's like, what? And so he like holds out his hand. He's like, go like that. And so I hold out my hands like that. And he just like
dumps it in there,
dumps it in my hands. And I'm like running back to the cells. Like, I thought I was like special, man, look what I got for the $5. He was like, he thought it was short, that my cell. He's like, no, man, tell that fool, man, to hook it up. I was like, what? This is like
right?
4 ounces. It's like a quarter pound, dude.
Right.
Yeah. I moved from the Northeast down to Houston, Texas, and started to become a drug runner when I was a baby. I was a little kid. But when I got down there, I was in a bar and I was nodding out, having a few drinks. The guy said to me, man, you need something stronger than coffee. And I was like, you know where to get it? And he's like, yeah, man, give me $60. So I give him $60 and he disappears, man. I've been drinking for like 2 hours. He hasn't come back. I just chalk it up. And finally the dude comes, back in and I was like, hey man. And he goes, yeah, sorry. It took me a minute. I left a place where it was $300 for an 8-ball. So 3 G's, right?
Yeah.
For 3.5 grams. And I got down there and this dude gives me a bag. It's like this much at the bottom. It's just rocks all the way across. And I looked at it. I went, what the hell is this? And he goes, what? I took like a half gram. Like he thought I was complaining about the pinch. I was like, can you go back and get $180 worth right now? Like I got some more money. Yeah, go fill a backpack with this. Yeah, right. That was the start of my career, unfortunately. How long did it take to feel comfortable on the outside? To stop looking over your shoulder?
I still do.
You still feel that way? Yeah.
Yeah, I still do.
Yeah.
You get conditioned. I mean, like in the state, I don't know about the feds, but you get conditioned to do that. And after 13 years or 14 years of doing that, it's really hard because it helps. It does help when you're in that situation. Yeah. I mean, you never know.
Even to this day, I don't like sitting with my back to a door.
No.
Like at a restaurant or whatever, that scares the hell out of me, man. I can't do it.
Yeah, same.
You need a person that's kind of, cool and understanding about that kind of stuff. Because for real, sometimes you say to people, I don't want my back to the door, and they look at you like you got something growing out of the middle of your forehead. You know what I mean? Especially like you go into a restaurant, and there's 3 tables open. I'm like, I don't really want to sit at any of these 3 tables.
Right,
maybe
right in the middle.
Maybe I can hang out until one opens. One of the people I saw get unalived in a TV room. I don't know if you've ever been on a yard where instead of being out in the day room like they are in all other places, they have these little ass TV rooms, right? That are off and they're just a terrible idea is what they are. They're a terrible idea. But there was a dude in there like had R10s, big black headphones, right? Black headphones.
The old R10s.
Yeah, the old R10s hanging over the top of his ears. And he's just like this. And the guy comes walking in and he goes, right? I figure he's going to slap him or, whatever. He went up and went like cut the dude across the throat and then just turned around and walked out. And it's not like it's like the movies. It's just it's horrific.
It's
the
a
dude.
mess.
He looked like a sprinkler is what he looked like. Like the
right?
It pumps, because it's pumping and it's rhythmic and he started to panic and it's going faster. It was like, that from that moment on, I'm like, you know what? I'm never gonna put something over the top of my ears. Forget about it. Yep. Right? I'm wearing one earbud and one earbud only, and I'm not watching TV. Like that. That went out the window day one. Yeah. Screw that. Honestly, that's
and it sucks too, like because like even like the last shop I worked at, in prison, you hope you're in a place where everyone, if there's a problem with you, they put it on the table. Say if there's an issue with you, not like a major issue, like you ratted or you're a sex offender or something like that. But if someone's got a problem with you, hey, you promised me this, or whatever, you just expect it to be put on the table so you can talk, it can get talked about and squashed. So there's nothing lingering,
right.
Things like that. I still have problems with, I was just working at a place where the the desk girl and one of the artists there who was gay, and he thought I had a problem. He thought I was a homophobe or something, and I'm like the farthest from a homophobe. But and so they would always whisper and blah blah blah, and they'd probably just intimidated just by how I look, or even though we're in a tattoo shop and I have lots of tattoos, but I dress like a white boy from California,
Yeah.
and they probably their past experiences is probably with like, ooh, brother, get over here, brother,
Got the lokes on
or whatever. Yeah. That's how all my friends are from Cali. They're all pretty. Everyone I meet from California, when they find out like I'm a prison guy from California, they're always just like, you're a different kind of cat. You're not what we expected. They expect that typical,
handlebar mustache.
Yeah, with the brush and
right.
And I'm not like that. I'm just like, hey guys, what's up, man? This tattoo, and and I've been affiliated, but it's just always been me. I've never been willing to, because I think I came into the game so late that I've already established my personality, to be who I am. And cause I was almost 30 before I, ever went to the joint. And so I just think that's different, but I do have a problem with people talking behind people's back. And as everyone should, but like it gets to me to where I start to get in my body and it feels real disrespectful and
because you can't fix it, right?
Yeah.
Inside, as stupid as it is,
yeah.
Inside he's right. You know what I mean? And if the two of you can't work it out, then you can go to a dude who's going to demand that the two of you go in to a cell and talk about it with him. And he might say, catch a cell, right?
Yeah.
The two of you can go beat the crap out of each other, right?
Yeah.
And then be the best friends.
And then exactly. And then hang out and get loaded for the rest of the time that you know them.
Yeah. You can always count on them being there too.
Yeah, exactly. They're the people that the guy's willing to throw down. It sounds so stupid, but there's an instant level of respect there. Probably doesn't make any sense.
There is.
Yeah, but it really does. This is a good one. What do you think the most popular drug in prison is?
It's easy.
That's that sleepy stuff.
Yeah, it's definitely the sleepy stuff.
Definitely the sleepy stuff.
It is definitely. It's going to be H or some variation.
Although H keeps me up like meth.
It does me too, actually. Yeah, I mean, I shouldn't say that. I'll nod, but it won't be until about midnight, and I'll have to put $700 or $800 in me before then. And then, right around midnight or 1 o'clock, I'll start.
If I quiet my mind and I'm just like watching something, I can nod out. But the bigger the shot, the better. And I'm just like, I'm ready to go, man. I'm running for governor. You know what I mean? Hey, what's going on?
I'm running for governor. Yeah. I'm pressing palms and kissing babies.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
All my friends too. They'd be, hey, look at Casper. He's on one, because I'd have all my shoes out in the hallway. Waxing my floor. Yeah.
Oh God, dude.
Cleaning the sink.
You go by and there's a dull floor, and you see this cell where it's just gleaming.
Right. You got to put the lokes on before you can walk by.
Put the wax on it. Yeah.
Yeah. I had a kid, youngster, that lived next to me at Paradise. He robbed a bank for street cred. Swear to God. I said to him, you rob your bank for dope or what? And he's like, street cred. And I'm like, no, I'm being serious. And he goes, no, I'm being serious. And I was like, you did this? He's like, yeah, I'm a rap star. But, as a white dude, he's like, they don't take you seriously at all, man. I was like, wow. But he used to buff his floor. I'm not joking you, every single day. Every day. He'd go get the buffer and you'd hear it and it slaps the wall, right? If you're trying to lay down and take a nap or do anything like that, and you can nap there, by the way. You can nap all day long at Paradise. For real. Wow. There's no rules. There's none of that stuff. There's nobody giving you a lick of crap for taking a nap. I kind of liked it.
And the hardest drug to get, it just depends on the prison. Like sometimes it's the most popular drug. Yeah.
True.
Yeah. Like Phoenix, there was nothing there. At Phoenix, to get an opiate high, I would watch the movement sheet. You know how they put the movement sheet out every morning?
Yep.
I would watch to see who was going to the dentist, because at the dentist there, if you got a tooth pulled, they would give you Percocets for 3 days.
Yep.
And so I was always prepaying for everyone's Percocets. I'm like, hey man, let me get you Percocets. I would catch them coming right out of the dentist, mouthful of cotton, be like, hey, let me get your Percocets tonight, man. I'll pay you whatever you want. And I would, save up, 10 of them. And
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The other one that was good, especially at Phoenix, because he's right. There was, you talk about a place where you could not catch anything. Like they had it on lock or something, right? Or nobody there was trying to move stuff in because it was not a yard that you were going to catch too many buzzes on. But there were all of those fools that were coming through the transfer. Those were the guys that had dope. You know what I mean? Like if you could see one of your homeboys that was coming through there and just they're on the stepping stone on the way out. Those are the guys that usually were, had stuff that they were bringing in. All right, here we go. Did y'all have nightmares from witnessing all the death after you got out? I have.
I've never had a nightmare.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, I don't remember.
Awesome.
I don't remember my dreams anymore, though. When I was on the other dope, if I would crash out for a couple of days, I would have dreams. But I've never any nightmares. But I do EMDR therapy for my PTSD, and I hate saying I have PTSD, but I really do.
There's no way you can't deny that anybody that went to a prison that wasn't Sheridan, right, or one of those, you're going to have it. There's even some. FCI Terre Haute was not a violent joint. Like that place was about as non-violent as any place I've ever been. Really, But the one time violence broke out, it was horrific.
Yeah,
right. It was horrific. It was 3 dudes with blades and one guy with a lock and a sock, and they went to town on this dude, and it was, honest to God, one of the most disturbing things. Just nasty, just nasty.
It's nowadays you see all these TV shows and they show clips of riots and stuff like that. I lived through it when it was, when it wasn't mainstream, when guys were getting shot by Mini 14s and shotguns. That's what I was around, seeing guys, a fight in the building, and the cell tower guy would put the block gun out the gate, in the tower, and just fire it. It would just rip skin off the guy. Just take his chest.
Them block guns are vicious, man.
Yeah, they are.
The block guns are vicious.
I do have nightmares.
There's a great story in the BOP about a gentleman that is in the BOP, but he went through Point of the Mountain. That's a prison in Utah, and he lost one of his raisins to a block gun. To a block gun.
Wow.
Were you ever at Draper?
I've been to Draper.
Oh, I've been to Draper too. We never talked about that. Maybe we did when we were cellies. Yeah.
What unit were you in?
I don't remember. It was a long time ago.
And they changed them all up anyway. So it depends on how long ago you've been there.
It was the Oakers.
Yeah, that's one of them. Oker was one.
Yep. Oakers. Yep. Yeah, that's.
It was all mountain ranges. That's how all of it was different mountain ranges.
Yeah, and I fell out of Ogden. Yeah,
Ogden.
Yeah,
Salt Lake City. I was living in Salt Lake at the time. It's not. But this dude, he was a member of an organization that also does their stuff with a couple of letters. Except different letters in the alphabet. And because of where I'm talking about, what part of the world, you probably know exactly who I'm talking about. They're deep there, so to speak, right? They're deep there. Real sassafras. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. And even better because nobody likes fake sassafras. Know what I'm saying? Nobody.
No.
Do you remember where you were in Panama?
It was right on the border.
Yeah.
And I was coming down from Costa Rica.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
But I was in Malpais in Costa Rica.
This individual lived Sherman and Gulick on the Cologne side or Panama City side. You know what's funny?
I did end up in Panama City, but I was only there for a couple of hours. But it was just to go to the airport.
There are places,
whatever's close to there.
There are places that I've lived, right, where for $1 million I couldn't tell you the name of the street that I lived on. You know what I mean? And lived there, and I got a pretty decent memory. But like there was I remember spending a good chunk of time in Texas, and I could tell you where it is, but I couldn't for the life of me tell you the name of any of those streets.
You could get there, but you don't know what.
Exactly. I could get you there easily, but I did. I was doing had what doctors refer to as a bit of a drug problem at that
Yeah.
point. You know what I mean?
I can't remember
No.
what unit I was in at Phoenix when we were at Phoenix.
I do. I can tell you the unit you were in. You want me to blow your mind?
Yeah.
Pima.
Yeah, Pima. Yeah, yeah.
Pima B. You were in Pima B. I know, because everybody would sneak over to your crap. They'd be like, "Hey man, I'm trying to get into Pima B," and I'd be like, "What, Casper tattooing on you?"
Yeah. Yeah.
For real. There was always people going in there to have you tattoo on them. People from other units, which is just a bust. I mean, thinking back on it, it is
You
just
remember
such
Hammer?
a bust. Oh,
You
yeah, I
remember Hammer? Yeah, me
he
and
had
Hammer.
legs this big
Yep.
and some ink that he had
Yeah.
some.
He was gonna move up here to Montana at one point, and then you know, I think he was, you know, on the run or something, but he never came. But he's doing good now. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember him well, actually.
Yeah.
He's not a guy that he's not a guy that would probably fade from memory. He cuts a pretty distinctive.
Yeah. He's a serious dude.
He's a very serious dude.
Yep.
He's a very serious dude. Got some serious ink too. He had
serious
some of the really popular guys from old Germany playing cards.
Yeah.
Like
Oh yeah.
Yeah, some really awesome.
Yeah. You know the Louis Vuitton symbol. You know how they do like on a purse, it'll have like a checker.
LV. Yep.
Yeah. The LV like in a pattern. I did that in swastika's as filler in his whole arm. It looks so badass, though. I mean,
I bet.
but yeah, it looks so badass.
Oh boy, everybody! I bet you everybody here is going to answer this question the same way. Did you ever see a freak? Right, somebody that was in there for something that they should bad paperwork, right? Kid stuff. Did you ever see any of those people get crushed?
I crushed a few.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and even as a Christian, you know, and I don't want to put it bad.
No, you're good.
I have no regret or remorse,
I don't blame you.
Especially the ones that I did. They were serious. They were serious ones, like the one down in Big Springs at the low there. He actually had kids tied up in the back of a car.
Good God!
So that I was more than happy to do that.
Yeah.
And you know, and I always say this because the public expects, you know, because you always hear people like, oh yeah, he got 10 years and he's going to get dealt with in prison. And 9 times out of 10, he's not, because they're going to put him in some kind of PC.
It just depends. Yeah. It depends on what state. There's a lot of places where they're able to hide. And I'll tell you something else that's a friggin' epidemic. There are people you can go online right now and they're advertising, right?
Yeah.
Fake PSIs, right? Fake judgment of commitment. You can get an entire packet with your docket sheet, right? From docket sheet all the way to your pre-sentence investigation, and they'll mail the entire thing in. If you got enough money, they'll send in fake discovery, and they can take a guy that's a kid toucher and turn him into a bank robber, turn him into something else like that.
Yeah. For a millisecond, I thought that was a great hustle, but I would never want to protect those.
Exactly, dude.
No.
Exactly.
For no amount of money. When those dudes hit the yard and people find out, and they're like, well, we're just going to tax him. No, he's got to go. He's got to go.
Yeah, no. You know what happened? Speaking of which, it didn't work out so well for the last guy that was doing that.
Yeah. So what I was saying was that the public expects us as convicts to deal with that.
To handle it. That's right.
We it's like we have a mandate to do it. You know what I mean?
We're the last line of defense.
Yep, we're the last line, bro.
They don't hand out justice.
There's no cure.
No.
There's no cure. And so what state was it where they were going to start castrating?
Do you know something?
Vermont?
It's been done in 2 states at one time or another throughout history. They've done chemical castration on people that had to sign up for it, and had to volunteer. And those people don't stop offending, but they become violent. Right. And the reason that they pulled the plug on it was because they become violent. It isn't about sex, right? It's about control. It's about violence. It's about it's about a bunch of sick crap that doesn't have to do with sex. So if you remove that, they still want to control people. It just makes them much more violent.
Yeah, but my heart starts racing over that shit, man.
I get upset.
Well, when I got to Victorville, and they said you got to put work in, you're 4th in line, and I was like, can you move me to the first spot? I don't want to wait, and trip out for 3 or 4 weeks worrying about it and building it up in my head. And it was probably 2 days later, the guy came up and he's like, we got somebody. And I said, all right, and this is the real shot caller. Like, this dude had juice. He had a big time juice card. the two of us were talking. I said, I don't want to hit this dude for if he ran up a poker debt and didn't pay you, right? Or anybody else here, because I don't give a crap about any of that stuff. I'm like, but if you got paperwork that says this dude's a rat or this dude's a kid toucher, and he's like, throws the paperwork up on the desk, and yeah, he was one. And they handed me a blade and said, go to work, man. And we're sending 3 people with you. So when I went into the cell to hit him, 3 guys stayed on the outside, right?
Yeah.
One leaning on the rail looking, and the other 2 looking in to make sure that, I didn't.
Just had some chance. Yeah.
So, that he ends up being a badass, he wasn't, by the way. And again,
because that's happened too.
Not to do the dark humor thing, but these guys, the piece they gave me came out of, what do you call it?
Shoe?
No, not, what's the name of the people that work on everything in there? CMS. Thank you. CMS. God, help us, dude. I'm proud that I can't remember that. Woohoo! But it came out of CMS, and it was what they call a friendly, right? This thing was made out of stainless steel and will go right through a metal detector. Yeah. Right. I mean, for real, right through a metal detector. But they put a hilt on it, like it was an actual like a blade, like a little hilt, and they had but I got that hilt. People are going to hate this. I got it through his ribs, and then it turned sideways, and I couldn't get it back out. And I'm yanking on this thing, like, what the hell is going on? And the guys at the door are laughing at, like, I'm really like putting a foot on this dude. And finally I got it out, and I left. The guy's like, dude, you got it in there. He's like, if that ever happens again, I'm like, bro, there's never going to be an again, man. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not looking for ink. And as soon as I was done, the guy's like, hey man, you want some ink for that? I was like, no, I really don't. No hard feelings, but I don't want any part of it. I just like to forget it happened. But I felt no guilt either. I really didn't. We laughed about it for weeks. Oh, and this is good too, because this is funny. I'm on my way to the chow hall, right? And I passed the captain, and he goes, can I talk to you real quick? And I go, yeah, what's up, boss? And he goes, there was a guy that got stabbed in your unit today. And I go, no shit. And he goes, yeah. I go, no, I didn't even know about that. And he goes, it's funny because it's like 3 or 4 cells down from you. I go, no kidding. He goes, yeah. And you walk right toward it. He's like, and the camera's not there. He's like, that one's out because but the boys took care of it. But he's like, you walked right there. I said, what are you saying that I did this? I said, why did the guy get stabbed? And he goes, oh, he's got really bad paperwork. I'm like, what? Why would you try to walk Victorville with bad paperwork? You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't seem like a good idea anyways. Yeah. And he goes, hey, if you think we're not going to investigate this because of who he is, he's like, that's not how we do it here. And I went, all right. He goes, I'm going to look into this until about lunchtime, see if I can figure this out. I swear to you. So I'm walking down to go to dinner, and I go, he's coming the other way. I say, hey, boss, any luck? He goes, no, but we gave it hell. We work real hard on it.
I love it.
The cops don't like him either. Right? The cops don't like him either.
Oh, no.
No one wants to be around those people. Do you guys think that some parole board systems, in some cases, are corrupt? Yeah, absolutely. Anytime you've got a panel of people that are making a decision, they can be bought, right? Yep. They get guaranteed they can be bought. And I've seen some crazy crap. Like when I did state time, people that I went in for the parole board, and I was so short that I just wanted to kill the sentence. I didn't want to go out and be babysat and all that. I was a junkie. There was no way I was going to be able to make it. So they send me down, and you're supposed to go in there with all of the programs you've done and have a spiel. So I went in there with nothing, and I had done a bunch of programs, but I went in there with nothing on me. And they said, you got a long history of stealing shit for drugs. Why should we believe that you're going to get clean and not do it this time? And I went, I won't. I said, I'm telling you right now, there ain't a chance in hell. And they're like, well, so what, you think we're going to give you this? I said, you can take your parole and cram it in your ass. I got no desire whatsoever. So the counselor calls me into the office, and I figure, he goes, hey, we need to talk about your parole. And I go, oh yeah, I might have been disrespectful or whatever. I'm like, but I just didn't want the paper. He's like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he goes, you got your parole. And I'm not kidding you. I went in there and said, cram this in your ass. The guys that went before me and after me were begging, right? Begging. So none of it makes any sense to me. There was no rhyme or reason at all to who got it and who didn't. At least when I was involved, there was zero rhyme or reason.
The first write-up I ever got was the major one. Well, one of them, but it was the one where I tore into those COs, and I got the one down asleep, and then the other one I hurt pretty bad, and after that, I could kiss parole goodbye.
Oh yeah.
Once you do that to a guard, it's over.
Yep. And your
You
black
know?
box too. Yeah, I didn't get any.
Might as well.
I got no halfway house on the rip that I hit the guard. I got nothing. I had to kill it. I had to kill the entire thing. And I did the entire rip. No joke. Like, what did you get for good time? Nothing.
Zero.
I did the entire sentence. Stupid.
Back then, we could do day for day. You know, I got 10, it's supposed to do 5, and there weren't no programs you could take to get out a year earlier or anything like that back then. I had to do 5 years, and that was it.
Those programs aren't real anyway.
Yeah. Once I stole on them, it was over.
Casper, how many people do you know that got a year off for our debt? Seriously, do you know anybody?
Nobody.
Nobody.
It's nobody. And I always tell people, like, man, if you're like really struggling to get through RDAP, or you're really counting on that year, don't, because I never seen it happen. And also when you get out, that are the RDAP you have to do on the street when you get out for that early year that you don't get that 9 months. No. Yeah, you can't get. I seen a guy go back because there was a beer bottle in his front yard from his neighbor.
Yeah, no, they're absolutely vicious. They're absolutely but it is such a hustle, right? It is such a hustle because you go in there and you spend all this time because they tell you in court, right? When you're getting sentenced, they're like, yeah, and we're going to recommend that you do RDAP, and then your lawyer leans over because she charged you a pile of money, and he goes, see, right? No problem, man. You can be out in 5.
Yeah.
No, turned out to be 9. He wasn't. He wasn't in the ballpark of that 5 number. I'll tell you what, man. Not even in the ballpark.
Broken
they don't care much. Thank you so much, Mischief Man. She said she would like to get a look at some of your tattoo work. You know, if you go by, you got a page where people can check out some of your work. Or
you can go to Sam Yarbrough Tattoos. Maybe Mariana can put up a link.
Yeah, and if she does, then somebody with a wrench can just do that, so people can just link straight to it.
Yeah, Sam Yarbrough Tattoos on Facebook. I'm in Montana now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Billings, Montana. But I've owned shops in LA, Long Beach, Glendale,
Strong Beach,
Hollywood for a little bit. Yeah. I love Long Beach, man.
The food is the nastiest stuff in the entire world. Honest to God. Carol, there's no way to do justice to how bad the food is. On no chance on God's green earth that you can make anybody understand. It is the grossest. I mean, every once in a while you catch a yard where, like, Phoenix was halfway decent, right? There was at least 2 or 3 meals a week that you could eat there, right? But the vast majority of places I've been, the worst in the world was Victorville. I mean, the worst. I bet. It was because the fellas are all stealing crap and bringing it out of the back, and it was dog crap. If you weren't paying to get your own food, you were starving. It's just the way it is.
What I ever had was LA County Jail, hands down.
Forget about it. Yeah, if we bring in county jails, 911 Par Boulevard, 911 Par Boulevard. They serve at every meal but breakfast, right? They serve cabbage at every single meal, and it's raw. It's just shredded and dumped on top of your tray. And if you don't eat cabbage, you're screwed. This is a good question. How hard was it to fall asleep and get a halfway decent night's rest in the joint?
After we got out, or while we were in?
No, while you were in.
It's harder for me to sleep now that I'm out.
Yeah. It is.
Too quiet?
For some reason, it drives my wife nuts, man.
Because it's too quiet.
She's given me a UA before because she's,
No, I believe that wholeheartedly. I believe that.
Yeah,
it is very difficult to get used to the silence, especially depending on where you did time. Like, I've been on yards where at 9 o'clock it's silent, right? But like, I left from a special management unit, right, on one of my sentences, so it was 24 hours a day. Right, around the clock, people yelling from one cell to another, right? And at the end of each sentence, they would end it with, "You heard?"
Yeah, you heard.
And it would go on all day. And you know something? I don't care if anybody gets offended. There are some guys from DC that can destroy a yard in like 6 minutes. There's real issues with the guys that get arrested in the District of Columbia. But there were 60 people on our tier, and I bet 25 of them were from DC.
Oh, that's the worst, man.
Yeah, I'm telling you. And I went on I flipped the schedule all the way around so that I would sleep all day long. and then I would stay up all night, listen to Coast to Coast and do stuff like that. But it's impossible. It really is. You don't get a good night's sleep, and they don't give you a pillow, right? In the feds, there's no pillows. You have to pay, and every time they toss the cells, they're throwing it out.
I'm surprised you guys got pillows, period. Or
No, we didn't.
No,
we didn't. You had to buy.
We had to make them.
Yeah, you had to make them from fellas. Yeah, they didn't. Although I
my
was
winter
on
jacket
1 yard,
was usually my pillow.
Yeah. Right,
one yard I went to. I'm going through the store list, and I said to the guy, I was like, "What the hell does the pillow thing mean?" And he's like, "Pillow. You put it under your head. You don't know what a pillow is?" I'm like, "No, I know what a pillow is. I just didn't think we were allowed to have these anywhere in the BOP." But I bought it and had it. And when I got to Victorville, they took it. The guy said, "I'll leave it in your stuff, but we don't allow that here."
Right. You can send it home.
Yeah. I mean, what am I going to kill you in it? There's a lot of stuff in my cell I'd probably go to work on somebody with before I would start with the pillow. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Probably not going to be my weapon of choice.
Right.
Is it me? Right.
Right.
I'm going to put a couple of locks in a sock.
I never had a problem sleeping in there because I was level 3 or 4 all the time. And then you start disrespecting people, they'll just go.
Oh, no. Yeah. USPs are different, right? Even FCIs, because they open the door and you got to deal with those people in the morning. So if you keep the person up all night, they're going to kill you when they pop those doors. But at the SMU, you ain't getting anybody.
But we had TVs in our cells in the state too, but we had headphones also.
Yeah, why don't you rub that in, bro? Why don't you rub that in?
Yeah. Up here in Montana, they got Xboxes, they got tablets where they can do video calls, and it's crazy.
That sounds like Tommy time right there.
That's right, man. That's right. I want in. Prison hooch is the worst. Honestly, I mean, it does what it's supposed to do. Of course you did.
I do.
And you made a lot of it.
I sure did.
That's how I met. That's how I met Casper.
Yeah.
I bought a half a gallon of wine. It was made out of potato flake.
Oh,
yeah.
Do you know what that potato flake wine did, by the way? It got me thrown out of RDAP. I'm not kidding, man.
Don't mention it, man. Don't mention it.
Well, I was running the poker table in my room
Mission
and I've been caught like 4 times. You can't play cards in RDAP. You can't play outside. So I had like a green felt. I used the blankets, right, and cut them and put it on top of cardboard. And I had a green felt table, and I was hammered. And then the woman came in and said, "Give me that table. Give it to me now." So I give her the table, right, and she walks off, and everyone's like, "Oh, that sucks." And I mean, 2 seconds after she walked out, I pulled another one out from under the bed, right, because I had 3 of them, and I put it up there, and I was like, "All right." I'm like, "All right, get on another deck of cards. Don't trip," because she took everything. And 2 seconds later, she popped her head in to tell me something else. And I'm shuffling. Oh, it just did not go over good. So she brings me down for a write-up. Smells nothing. And when I got upstairs, some guy started giving me crap about it. And you know how you are not quite as into crap.
Do you remember that Hawaiian guy in your unit in Phoenix that got busted for marking the cards?
Do I? I can tell you his name.
Yeah.
I can tell you his name.
I remember Laffy telling me about it, and he showed me the marked card. It was just like a little red.
This dude was so good at it, dude.
Yeah,
those cards were amazing. And you know what? He took so much cash. I'm talking about thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
I mean thousands. And usually at my table, right? I mean, I was running a poker table, and he would open up a fresh deck. He'd bring fresh cards. I'd crack the seal. Like, this dude had it going on, man. He had it going on. But what happened is he bought some vino. He bought a little wine, and he was having a real struggle reading the cards, right?
Yeah, that's what I heard. You couldn't see
we were playing Dookie, right? And you're trying to get all 4 suits as low as you can, right? And he's going like this. Like, he's looking down at the cards. Like, I go, "Bro, are you expecting those to talk to you or what?" I'm like, "What the hell is going on?" And Laffy just grabbed the deck, snatched it off the table, and he's like, "Yeah, I think I'll keep these." And dude got up and started to walk away. They called him Oso.
Yeah. That's right. That's right. I remember.
I love how excited
and you know something? Hey, he played the big badass card. That fool, he did the dry PC move, right?
Yeah.
Walking to chow, he smacks some kid that's like 18 years old and weighs 110 pounds. "What? Did you just call me a punk?" You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that he didn't have to write on the lockup form, "Hey, I need protection." Right. He got shipped, but it was just it was really nasty. The faith stories, you know what? I shouldn't say it. Very few people get out without finding some kind of something to believe in, for real.
Yep.
And for some people, what they're going to believe in is a power greater than themselves, and that's 40 other guys that have swastika tattoos, right?
Yeah,
that is a power greater than one person with a swastika tattoo. But a lot of other people, especially guys that sort of walk alone, usually do find some kind of faith to keep you in the game. I certainly did.
I've always believed in a higher power. Never believed in God and Jesus died for my sins. Until I got out one time. It was on a violation. They made me come live up here in Montana. They said I couldn't go back home. And I was like, well, I'm just gonna have to go there and go to a casino, gamble, get drunk, and just go see my PO, and then they'll just send me back and I'll terminate my sentence. And then I can just go home.
Right.
And I got off the plane. And I know exactly where I'm heading. I'm going to a casino and get drunk.
Yeah.
And there was this little old man there with a sign that said Yarbo. My name was spelt wrong and everything. And I stopped and I was like, "Do you mean Yarbro?" And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "My name's Ken. Your PO called me, said you needed a place to live." And I was like, wow. Oh man. And I was just felt so relieved. And he took me to his house and he says, "Yeah, we're a Christian organization and we just help people transition. We're not a sober living, but we have like a little church service we do." And I started going to that service, man. And when I was in Pahrump, you go to Pahrump and get, stuck there sometimes on Con Air.
Yeah.
When I was in Pahrump, I got in a fight with a guy. And when I went to the hole, I basically fell on my knees and was just like, "Man, if you're real, just show me something." And I got to the yard and they wouldn't let me out in the yard because I was a gang member and because it was a low.
Right.
I was just on a violation. And so this Christian radio show would come on at night. So I was already had like this weird seed planted. And from that prayer that I did, right. After the fight, I said, if you're real, just show yourself. And so when I was in the shoe there, I kept catching this Christian radio sermon, and it was just speaking to me. And I just had this like fire grow inside of me to read the Bible. And when I would go out to the rec yards and I would walk the yard with this kid, he was from Texas, the coolest kid. He's from Odessa. And I was telling him about man, I'm listening to these shows and I'm like, I have this fire to read the Bible. And he just starts jumping up and down. He's like, "Man, that's the Holy Spirit. That's the Holy Spirit." And I was like, "What? What's the Holy Spirit?" And he's trying to explain it to me. He's like, "Man, that's what you're feeling." And man, sure enough, bro. So when I got off the plane and that little old man was sitting there with his dog with my name, and then he was a Christian, it just came full circle from that whole 9 months was just God reeling me in, man. He was really intrusive and thank God because I've been saved ever since, and I appreciate.
You ready for a quick faith story? And it's not me, right? I get out, and I'm trying to turn my life around, and I wanted to do something along the lines of what I'm doing with the boat, but I didn't understand YouTube, I didn't understand the internet, none of that. So I was going and talking at any place that they'd let me talk to somebody, right? And I went to talk to kids that were like 14, 15, 16, 17, right? And, I'm a public speaker. I've done this professionally. So I get there and there's this big white dude there and he's got a crap load of ink, but you can barely see it. Like they're either trying to remove it or it's the most faded crap you've ever seen, right? But yeah. You can tell there's Swazis all over him. There's bolts all over him, but it's all faded as hell. And he goes, "Do you want to go first, right, to speak?" And I go, "No, it doesn't really matter to me, man." He goes, I don't, my show doesn't take long. He's like, "I'll just knock this out." And he gets up and he starts telling the story. And he says, "I got out of prison." I'm going to make this a lot quicker than he did. But he said, "I got out of prison and I didn't have a place to live." He said, "And I was scared crapless. I didn't want to go back. I'm a junkie." He said, "So I went to NA." He said, "And I just started cleaning ashtrays. After each show, I'd clean ashtrays." He goes, "And there was a guy in the morning show who just said, 'Hey man, God bless you,' on the way out." And I said, "Thanks." He said, "And at night, the guy came back and saw him again. And he goes, 'Hey, you been here all day?' And he said, yeah, I was just cleaning some ashtrays. He goes, you don't have any place to go, do you? And he said, I really don't. And he goes, tell you what, man, you can come home and stay in my garage. He's like, it doesn't sound as bad as it is. He's like, I've got it finished off in one spot. He's like, there's a bathroom, there's everything. He goes, but it'll give you a start. It'll give you a place to go. And after he was there about a week, the guy said to him, hey, I just had a guy quit. You want to work with me? He said, doing what? He's like, I'm a carpenter. You're just going to be a laborer. This continued for about 2 years. Dude gets his own house, right? All of this stuff. He's killing it. He's got a Harley Davidson, got his truck. And this dude just hooked him. He said, and then one day at work, a guy came up and said, you know that the boss is getting paid 45 grand on this project? And he said, you're kidding. He goes, no, man, we could be doing this without him and splitting 22 each. He's like, why are we doing anything with this dude? So he leaves this guy that took care of him all this time. And basically the guy scammed him. And when his friend found out, the guy he was living with, he said, yeah, come on back, start working with me again. And he's like, you're not pissed? He goes, no, man. He's like, it seems to me like you got kicked in the teeth. If you need to come back.
Yeah.
The guy helped him get his own house. He said to him one day, he goes, I think you got to move out of my garage. And he goes, did I do something to upset you? He's like, no, but how long are you going to live there? He's like, let's get you a house. He's like, I'll help. I'll do whatever I got to do. Yeah. And he got to the end and he goes, and he's never asked me for anything. Never asked me for rent. Never asked me. He said the only thing he wanted was for me to have my tattoos removed. He's like, he said, please just get that crap off of you. And one of the kids raised his hand and goes, he just hated all the hate stuff. And he goes, yeah, he really, the swastikas and all that. Did I mention he's black?
Oh, wow.
And I mean, right. It was like everything in the room just went, but it took him 45 minutes to tell this story. Like I just did this. Really, there was so much. And he and the guy walked his daughter down the aisle because this girl had grown up with
I love that. I love that story.
Wow.
Yeah. Yes. When he's done, right, he looks at me and he's like, all right, man, it's all you. I was like, are you shitting me, dude? What am I going to do after that, dude?
Yeah.
Dude, you know what I mean? I'm a public speaker. I know when not to follow somebody. My stomach hurts.
Yeah.
I'm out of here, dude. No, but it was one of the craziest things. It really was one of the most beautiful stories I'd ever heard. Yeah. Since stealing from another inmate, cell thieves, is considered such a bad thing to do, what were the usual consequences? Well, I saw somebody the first time I was in prison. Somebody did it to me while I was still in the fish tank, and I went into his cell and just punched him until I got my tobacco back. But I have seen, like at the pen, when you actually get there, if somebody gets caught stealing something, they're gonna hurt this person in ways you can't imagine. Usually, they're gonna go in on him. And they're going to either have a laundry bag or a sock. And in it is going to be a master lock, the kind you put on your locker in high school, right? And that puppy weighs about 1/4 pound of steel. And you've never seen anything like it. When that puppy hits the person's head, it just splits it. Every time they swing it, it just splits it. And that's usually the way I saw it. Or they'll book them, you know? They'll put steel in them.
Yeah, there's most places have a no hands policy in the feds, and it's which means if it's not worth stabbing over, it's not worth fighting over, and usually you would get stabbed for stealing from another man. It's the worst of the worst, and you know the only time it ever happened to me, it was I was in a lock. It was in a county jail. It was we came out for an hour to shower and use the phone, and whenever I get back out of the shower, my cell would smell like peanut butter, and we get these peanut butters and they come like 10 in a thing, you know, they're squeezies, like squeezable peanut butters.
Squeeze tube.
And squeeze tube. And there'd always be one missing. And I would ask my cellie, I was like, man, did you steal one of my peanut butters? And the whole cell smelled like peanut butter. He'd be like, no, man, not me, man. And I was just like, damn, man. And it happened twice. And the second time I was like, man, why is it whenever I get out of the shower, the cell smells like peanut butter and I'm missing a peanut butter, you know? And it's only me and you here, bro. And he like jumps up. He was like this old like guy. He was a chef or something. I can't remember the story. He like jumps up. You call me a dude, you know, just getting all hot. Like I'm not going to hit him because he's old. But my rules of engagement changed a long time after this old guy threw hot water on me and at Terre Haute.
Yeah, forget it.
I beat the brakes off the dude. I go, you're a thief, dude. You're a thief.
Well, and even traditionally, you find an old guy and you're in trouble, but something like a cell thief, all bets are off.
Yeah.
For real, all bets are off. You know,
Well, I had a yard one time, and I told this guy he had to leave, and he was an old guy, and he was just standing in the way of me and my pills, you know.
Yeah, I get it.
And yeah, and I said, man, well, when I come back from chow, you got to be off this yard. And so I went to chow, and like an idiot, I'm sitting there eating my it was chili dog day, and I'm eating my chili dog, and I feel this hot water hit me, and I jump, and I'm like, I feel the hot water hit me, and then I punch, and I'm like, what the hell? I jump up, and it's the old man, you know, and so you know, I take off on him, beat him up, and you know, I thought I was burnt. You know, we just had a guy
with oil.
Yeah, no, I thought, but we just had a guy get hit with oil. Yeah, with napalm. They called it napalm. It was like oil and dish soap, and it was boiled.
And if you put cold water on it, your stuff just falls off. When you put the water on it, sloughs off your face. I've watched that.
It just happened a few weeks before, and so when that hit me, so like I'm in medical, you know, they lock us up, but they take me to medical first, and I'm like, am I deformed? I go, I know I'm ugly, but you know, it's like, and the nurse is like, no, you're fine. You're
just red.
Yeah, it was just red because it was just the 190, you know.
I've watched people get hit with that.
But everyone was like, man, you should have took that dude out, man. I was like, man, I'm not gonna stab the dude. Like, he did what he was supposed to do.
Yeah,
I didn't respect him enough to smash him off the yard. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like I told man, no, you're just gonna go check in, get out of here.
Yeah,
and he did what he was supposed to do.
Exactly what he was supposed to do.
Yeah,
I mean, you know, the water's a bit off sides, but you can't really blame him. Thickness of mattress. What makes you think we get mattresses? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. In the feds, they have this little mattress that has a pillow built into it, which does absolutely nothing. In fact, do you know this? The first time I ever saw somebody cut one of those out of a mattress, it was you.
I take them right out. Yeah.
I'd never seen anybody do it. And when you take it out, the pillow is this big.
It makes your shoulder weird.
It's the biggest. It's this big, and they shrink this thing and put it. And it's the mattress is 2 inches thick when you get it.
Yeah.
And it's about 5 days for it to be completely destroyed. Wow. I'm not kidding. I mean, it's nothing.
Yeah.
I
cut the pillows out every time.
In the state, we didn't get pillows. Those, but in the county we did, but they were just flat pieces of.
Oh yeah, if you can cut that pillow out, you're big pimping, because that really is like a pillow. I mean, I got charged 3 times in the feds.
Yeah,
you know what? I used to walk in and be like, you could put this on my tab, because when I get upstairs, I'm cutting this pillow out. I'm not sleeping without a pillow, bro.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Put it on my tab.
And leaving it in, it hurts your shoulder. It's weird. You can never get.
You can't get comfortable.
Your neck.
Can't get comfortable. Yeah.
Do you know where Wise River, Montana is?
I don't, and I'm pretty familiar with Montana.
Yes, this is.
I'm gonna find out right now, bro.
Was it ever quiet? Absolutely. Usually about 6 seconds.
Yeah.
Right? Before something really, really bad happens. There's this moment where everything's like it's a kind of quiet you can't wrap your brain around.
Right.
For real. Right. Like all of a sudden everybody, and then it just goes.
Yep. Crickets.
And you know, man, it's like when I was a fish in the state joint, I was just walking in for chicken night, fried chicken night. It was a Thursday. And they used to put them in boxes, you get a box of chicken. And I was going in for a box of chicken night. And I walked in with my friend and he went, "You hear that?" And I go, "I don't hear shit." He goes, "Right. Turn around. Come on, let's go. I go, "What are you doing?" He's like, Come on. And within about 2 seconds, dude, they were firing out these guys started going at it and the shotguns
going off.
Yeah. Well, and we had a catwalk, right?
Yeah.
And they have these little holes in the wall. And the shotguns would come out of these little holes.
Yeah.
And they're firing really hard little black rubber balls that bounce off. So we got outside right before, and everyone else got locked down, kept in there. But that was my first lesson of when it starts getting real quiet.
At Folsom in the chow hall, they got holes in the tables from bullets, all kinds of good stuff.
That always makes you feel good, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's like Swiss cheese.
Wow, hey, Wise River is just a few miles from the state prison here, so I should have known where that was at.
So you've spent some time near there, but probably weren't getting out much.
Yeah, I lived real close to there.
Yeah. Well, when people talk about places in the country, I'd be like, someone would mention Oregon. I'm like, oh yeah, I lived there for a little over a year.
And I lived in Butte too for a little bit, and it's kind of close to Butte. Yeah, that's cool. Looks beautiful. And everywhere in Montana is beautiful.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
How long did it take for you to adjust to food again after you got out? I'll tell you something. It didn't take me a minute. Food was awesome the second I started eating. The one thing that was weird was the taste of metal in your mouth.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, you eat off a sport for a decade. The first time you put metal in your mouth, you're like, what is that? You know what I mean? It's a real strange, it's a strange phenomenon, right?
Mm-hmm.
People always ask, like, what was your first meal? What was your first? Man, mine was like a stale Subway sandwich.
I'm loving it.
At the bus stop.
Loving it.
Yeah, at the bus stop. Yeah.
At
the bus stop /
and a 40.
Subway
I always find a
/
40 when I get out.
And a 40. I honestly, that was the one thing that didn't take any adjustment at all. I was so looking forward to eating real food, and you get healthy instantly because the stuff in there doesn't have what you need, right, to stay healthy. You have to be buying it from the store, and you have to really be working on getting protein. Like when we were in Phoenix, you were buying all of that stuff out of the chow hall with the, you know what I mean, the protein stuff. But it's
I would buy big things of cottage cheese. Oh, it was so good.
They'd throw it to you every time you went up to bring your tray. I remember watching that hustle going on. I'd be like, damn, dude, he's got this shit on lock.
I did. I had it on lock there. Tattoo artist, man.
Where do they keep getting scrape metal to make shanks? Now that is a great question.
Can I answer
ready?
First?
Yeah. You got one right there.
Well, I had the.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, you remember these?
Yeah, that's it.
You can take this and cut through this thick of steel with it.
Yeah, honestly, if you got the time, it doesn't matter how thick the steel is.
I've been to joints where every bunk in there's got like 5 or 6 knives.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The USP in Florence. I went in there and I'm going to make my bed, and I lift up the corner of the mattress to tie the sheets around, and I'm like, holy shit! I mean, there must have been 5 spots in there where people cut blades out, and one was almost through. Like the dude must have had to leave the cell before he had it done.
Yeah.
If I had a cutter, I could have cut that thing out in about 15
And they're
minutes.
always circled with the date on it that they found it,
Correct.
Like, if there's anything
with
cut out.
With this orange paint so that they can document that you weren't the one that cut into that rack. It'll cut angle iron.
These things are hard to get in prison.
They are impossible to get.
And today my daughter was playing with them, and I was like, hey, I need that for my thing tonight because I didn't want to forget to bring this up. And sure enough, we got asked. Yeah, that's why I wanted to go first.
In Victorville, that was $150, right? And I'm not the big ones that no one ever had them.
Yeah,
they were the in between size. Those itty bitty little ones are worth.
I got the itty bitty ones here. Yeah.
They're so freaking expensive.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite stories. I was in a place and there was, my boss probably had 150 of those. And dude, I'm clipping them to the inside of my pants. Like it's like my entire body, dude. I just had the crap clipped to me everywhere on the inside.
And so weird. What's worth money?
Please don't pat me down. 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 Because it's a lottery. It's a lottery system. When you go walking out of the chow hall, they'll go, you. And then they'll wait 2 more guys and they'll go, you. And you got to go over there and do this one. And there's nothing worse than when you go over and they pat you down and you're carrying something, small, like 6 or 7 pounds of sugar. Do you know I got shipped off a yard? No joke. I got shipped off a yard for stealing 10 pounds of sugar from the chow.
I believe it.
And when you and I were in Phoenix, a guy stole so much meat that they hit him with a state charge. Wow. They had a picture of him. Yeah, you remember the picture? They hung it inside the office where you went for discipline, and the dude's he's standing like this, and every single part of his body had steak on it, like meat just everywhere.
Remember, they changed that. They changed all that with your shots that you'll get charged for anything that you steal. So now, and they'll charge you for it. Yeah.
Yeah, I got one for you. I can't believe I haven't told you this. So there was a guy there when we were there, very light-skinned black guy. He had just gotten there. And I know you heard the story because he went to medical and he set off a metal detector. And the woman was like, what do you have on you? And he's like, nothing. And she's like, why are you beeping? She hits the deuces. The cops show up and the guy's like, what do you got on you? Just give it to me, man. And he's like, I got nothing on me. So they're like, dude, give us the blade or we're going to take your clothes off and look for it. He's yelling R word at the top of his lungs, literally, as they're peeling clothes off of him. And they find a banger about that long in his butt crack. Right?
Oh.
Big old knife, bone crusher. And they put him in the hole. He's in the bus while I'm going to the airport to go to the SMU. And when we arrive on the bus, they start calling off all the names, right? You're going to this plane. You're going to here. They're calling off everybody, right? And he goes, hey, nobody called my name. And she goes, oh, the FBI are here for you, right? I'm not kidding you. He had 160 days, right? Home.
Yeah.
And that's paper killed. They hit him with armed career criminal.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
They ACC'd him. And you want to hear something awful, dude? I swear to you. I'm sitting next to him. And he goes, I never liked the dude anyway. And he's got his head down. He's going, oh my God, dude. Oh my God. And I go, hey, man, it could be worse. And he goes, how, Rock? Seriously, Rock, how could this be worse? I go, could have been me. That would have been worse.
Yeah.
And he's shackled, right? You can't do it. There's nothing you can do. He's shackled and handcuffed to another dude.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, dude.
That's
Feeney,
man.
Said, that's cold, bro.
SIS Feeney, he was a mother.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Cannot believe I forgot that name.
Yeah.
That dude was
I'll never forget that name.
Bull.
I'll never. He was like a federal agent. Yeah.
Snaggletooth mother.
Yeah, he was
not a kind person.
Nope.
Not a kind person. How long did it take you to? Oh, yeah, we did this one. Hold on. Good. We might be able to pull this off. How in the world do you get used to no bathroom privacy? Well, here's the deal. In a regular cell, you shouldn't probably have to drop too many deuces because the door's open enough during the day that your body kind of adjusts so that you're just going to wait until the doors can open and close, and you'll go, hey man, I'm gonna use the bathroom. Do you need anything out of there before I go? No, you cool. And then you put a sheet or a piece of cardboard to cover your window. And usually guys would draw on it or whatever, or write pooping, or they turn around the other side and write rubbing one out.
Yeah.
But but if you have to, like I spent between the shoe and going to the SMU, I probably 37 months, 38 months, where I couldn't go to the bathroom if I wasn't in front of other people. And when we were cellmates, there was 4 people in that cell at one point.
Yeah.
You can hang a curtain, you can hang a curtain and you can get creative. You'll learn how to hang something on a wall that is completely flat.
Oh, yeah.
You got to take some soap and, there's a bit of tricks to everything in there.
Oh yeah. The soap hooks on the wall. Yeah. I forgot about those.
Or the other option is like at the SMU, you'd go, hey bro, catch the wall. Right? That was standard operating procedure. Catch the wall. And the dude would just go like this and turn his body away from you half the time talking to you. Right? But just turn away from you.
Man,
you get used to it.
It took me the longest time. The first time I was in LA County jail, and I was like, man, these dudes are pooping right in front of everybody, And I was like, man, I can't do that. I can't do that. But by the time, now who I am as a person and a convict, dude,
on the 50-yard line, halftime show at the Super Bowl.
I'll tell you,
no problem whatsoever.
My favorite stories while I'm pooping. You know what I mean?
Looking you dead in the eyes.
Yeah, looking you dead in the eyes. But before, man, super, like a conscience, I guess, of it.
I had a cellmate named Turtle. He was a tattoo artist, and this was in the state joint. And that fool didn't want to have a conversation with you until you were going to the bathroom. You know what I mean? Like we spent 2 months on lockdown because in the fish tank, you spend the first 60 days locked down. You only get out 15 minutes every other day to do everything you got to do. Shower, phone calls. They try to shake you out. They try to get people to freak out and check in. And every single time I'd be like, man, I got to go to the bathroom. He'd be like, yeah, that's cool. And I'd sit down and he'd be like, hey, what part of the state did you say you're from? I'd be like, dude, man, honestly, I probably went, I swear to you, the first time I got busted, I probably went about 9 or 10 days of just going, my body was like, nope, it's not happening, dude. Not happening. You know what I mean? And then I finally got to a point, I'm not kidding, where I was like, I'm just going to fire on somebody so that they can take me to the hole. Because I'll be alone in a cell. That's how I did it the first time. I punched the dude in the head. I got to go to the hole, bro. It's the only way I'm going to be able to go to the bathroom.
Worth 30 days of sitting in peace.
Right?
Yeah.
If it's a dispute between races, do they have their own race mete out justice? You betcha.
Yep.
right? And I have been in that situation where you get into a beef with another race, and the two bosses of those races get together and figure it out. And there have been times where they'll say, the two of you can go in a cell and beat the crap out of yourselves.
Knuckle
right?
up.
They can absolutely say, go
Yeah.
ahead, catch a cell.
I love
More
it.
often than not, let's say it's a white dude and he did something really stupid to get somebody really angry. They're just going to go, we got this.
Yep.
We got this.
Yep. Get a
And then
catch a
they'll-
violation.
And then, violation.
Yep.
And they'll
It
beat
can
the
be body shots or
They're not going to hit you above
Nothing.
the.
Nothing.
They're not going to hit you on the face, but they will come in and hit you so God bless it hard in every other part of your body. Guys, turning and I've seen some ugly disciplines.
And in many of those.
You know
Yeah.
what? When I got to, yes, it's an awful. I'm not even going to go there. It's a terrible story. Do you think someone will make Diddy have sex with them in there? I don't think you'd have to make Diddy do that.
No,
Right?
he'll do
He's,
it anyway.
Yeah, he seems to not have too much of a problem being with anybody at any time, but he's definitely in for a very rude awakening.
He
Right?
won't
Yeah.
be the one in control.
That's right. It's going to be completely different. It's not going to be not going to be a freak off.
Yeah, I wish I could be there when he first walked into a unit.
I said
man.
the same thing, dude. For that moment, I don't care about the rest of it. I said the
Yeah.
same thing. I would
Just for
like
that.
to watch him with his bedroll, right? When they pop the doors to the unit, because it's going to be locked down. They don't ever do this when everybody's out. They bring you during lockdown, at least every place I've ever been.
Yeah.
They bring you out during lockdown, usually dinner lockdown, right?
Yeah.
And then they let you go in and, watching him walk across the room while everybody's at the door yelling and screaming.
Yeah.
Oh, God, that would be great.
And then watching his big homie come tell him, hey, I'm the New York shot caller.
Yeah.
This is how it's gonna be.
Yeah.
I
And
need
you
money
got
over
bad paperwork,
here.
you're going to do
Yeah.
exactly. what-
I got an appeal in. You're gonna have to send me some money. And
Yep,
oh man.
exactly. I got a list for you of the people that you're going to be buying store for if you're
And
sticking around. in this
and
unit.
that dude will know 2 weeks before Diddy even hits there.
Absolutely, they
He'll
will.
know Diddy's coming.
Absolutely, they will.
I told Tommy everybody on that tier will have score. I guarantee.
No question.
Oh,
They'll be and they're not drinking Keithy.
Oh no.
Not if the diddler's paying.
Cadillacs.
No.
That's
all
it,
Cadillac.
baby. For real.
Cadillac.
Crystals. They're
Yeah.
getting crystals, man.
Yep.
Good stuff.
That shit gives me anxiety. I don't know why. Folgers,
my
I can't
God,
drink
dude.
it.
Really?
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
never
it gives
drank
me
really.
anxiety.
I never really drank coffee. We used to get packages every 3 months, or quarterly packages. And I
Yeah.
had
Why don't you rub that in?
thing. Yeah.
Yeah. The only
Jar.
packages I ever got, if I got caught with them, I was going to do more time. My packages didn't come in the way yours did.
You're right. I get jars of coffee, man. And I had 15 or 20 jars of the Folgers instant under
Yeah.
my bed. I mean,
Yeah, no, that's a beautiful thing, especially during lockdowns, because they
Oh,
are
yeah.
worth a fortune.
I
Yeah.
didn't start drinking coffee till I was 48.
When they
Yeah.
cut the warden
Yeah.
at Victorville,
So all my friends always had me buy them coffee because I didn't drink my.
you didn't drink it.
But I drink the hell out of it now. I love it. Oh, I just can't wait for the morning. I look forward to the morning. I'm drinking now. I drink this. It's caramel butter coffee.
yeah,
So good.
fire,
I'm good with a Speedway
absolute
coffee.
fire.
Yeah, yeah.
How often was there a shakedown, and do some guards just leave a shank when the inmate is real dangerous? I was in the SMU, and there was a guy
Yeah.
that they called Dirt Dog. He was a black dude, and he was just annoying to everybody, right? Everybody. I was running a sports book, so I would have to yell the lines of the games out, and I would be like, Giants versus whoever, Buffalo, Giants by 6, and he'd be at the door yelling, Buffalo by 9.
I'm listening. I'm just stepping away just for one quick.
Yeah. And he ends up terrorizing basically everybody in there, just screaming through the doors, doing all this stuff. The cop comes by and says, "Hey man, I've told you about 5 times to not scream out of the cell, right?" And he says, "Why don't you give me a mouth hug?" It's not exactly how he worded it. Right?
Right.
That was the gist. And dude came, the cop said, "Okay, all right." And he came back and he's like, "You need to cuff up." He's the only dude in the cell. So they drop the food slot, puts his hands in, he cuffs up. And he goes, "Where am I going?" He goes, "To the dentist." So they open the door, right? And everything in the prison is to the left. It's the stairs that go down, the only place you can go. So they open the door and they go to the right. And he goes, "Well, I thought I'm going to dental." He goes, "Yeah, I just got to grab something here. We left something in the bathroom." They went in there. You heard just I mean, tuning this fool up because there's no cameras in there. They bring him back and they're walking him through the cell, and he goes and spits a mouthful of blood in the direction of both of these cops. And the cop yelled, listen, go get a shank and throw it under his mattress. And he yelled this loud enough for every single person on the tier to hear it. And then they walked him back to the bathroom and did it again. And he got quiet, bro. He got quiet. Shakedowns usually happen after an event.
Yes.
Right? They normally don't get shaken down for the hell of it. They do if there's no stabbing, if there's no stabbing or no ass kicking for 7 or 8 months, then they may just go, okay, we're going to do a shit. Or they bring the dogs in, like they bring in professionals and they really tear the place apart. But for the most part, especially in the feds, it's right after somebody gets stabbed, somebody gets beaten. They tear up every single unit. And if you got a pillow, you're losing it. Right?
See,
if you got any contraband, it's gone. So guys with tattoo guns, if you want to keep something, right, you're going to stick it in your backside. Because any other way and it's gone. It is absolutely gone. Did any of you become real friends with a guard?
No.
They don't. It's called compromising staff, and they get dicey about it. You start asking questions of them because it starts out with the smallest stuff, right? If you can get a cop to start answering some questions, hey, boss, you look tan as hell. What were you doing this weekend, huh? Did you get out to the lake or what? No, I don't do that, man. But I play golf all the time. Right? If they give you anything to start talking to them on, it'll be a couple of months and he'll be carrying in stuff for you. For real. It's called compromising staff, and it is a hell of a write-up. If you get caught compromising staff, you're gone. You're on the next train smoking. Yeah, they are serious about it. And if you get caught doing it twice, they bring you to, instead of the SMU, which is the SMU, they bring you to the CMU, right? Which is the communication management unit. And in the CMU, you're done. They don't let you make phone calls. They don't let you do anything. And every single thing you do is kept like if you send an email, it's in triplicate. They mail one to the feds. They keep one there. It's terrible. Terrible.
I don't know about that. State doesn't do that. They just throw you in the shoe.
They brought me there, which is funny as hell, because they didn't bring me there when I was married to my attorney wife. They brought me there when I went back to prison and told them I wasn't married to her, right? They were like, yeah, whatever, man. Like, she's in your PSI. I'm like, she left me 3 weeks into this sentence. And they're like, yeah, you know what? You're going to the CMU. And I was like, what? But I was only in there for 2 months. And I was probably the only dude there, no joke, that didn't stop at Gitmo. Right? I'm not kidding. On the way in there, dude, for real. Every other person in there at one time or another was wearing, one of those long flowing numbers. These guys were definitely not from our country.
I have made. I don't know if you remember the tall, skinny white kid that was a guard at in Phoenix. He's a cop in Las Vegas now. I can't remember his name. I actually became friends with him while I was there. But he was in the military. He was a racist, a white supremacist in the military. But he's not anymore. He's had a whole thing. I can't remember his name right now. But then all the county jail guards here in Billings, because of all the county time I've done here in Billings, I've become friends with them, because I'm a tattoo artist. I tattoo them. It's, it's a pretty small town. And so, I tattoo them. And I've had dinner with a few. I've spent some holidays with a few. So
nice. Yeah. I never went down that road.
Yeah.
Yep. Never was it. Do you remember Hellboy?
Oh yeah.
We had a guard, and he had one arm that had some form of, I don't know what you call it, deformity or whatever, but one of his arms was his hand, forearm, all of it was twice as big as the other one.
Yeah.
Right. As big as the other one. And he had a brother that worked there that was a solid dude, right? He's a piece of anyway, but his brother was a pretty solid dude, but I didn't know they were related.
Well, and
I said something stupid one day, dude. I was like, yeah,
and to be fair, I'm sorry to interrupt you, brother. The guards that I'm friends with now are no longer guards. They've all thought, they said, this is bullshit. I'm out of here.
Yeah, definitely. When you're in there was Sheradice. There was, and maybe I should have said, yeah, sort of. because at Paradise there was a woman that worked in our unit, and she would monitor your phone calls, right, while you're calling home or doing whatever. And then inevitably, she would talk to you about them. She'd be like, "Oh, you know, I heard your dad's sick." You know what I mean? And I'd be like, "You heard? So you were on the phone listening to, you know?" And she would try to spark up conversations. They ended up pulling her out because one of the dudes that left to go to the halfway house was going back and forth with her on Facebook.
Yeah.
They yanked her, man. They yanked her. Alrighty, people. 2 hours and 5 minutes. We need to let, especially Russ. He's on he's in the part of the country where it's a hell of a lot later.
Yeah,
a hell of a lot later than it is here. So,
where you at, Russ?
Indiana.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Are you close to Terre Haute?
Yeah, not too far.
Okay. Yeah. I love that.
They got a brand new casino over there. I'm gonna go try.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got some friends that live in Indiana too, man. The Indiana boys on the Indiana nights.
Yep.
Yeah.
I got some good buddies.
I can do 3 more hours. I just made a cup of coffee because I said caramel butter.
Nice.
Have you ever heard of a dude named Junior Purvis?
I sure have. Yeah.
He's the one that did my quarter sleeve.
Oh, okay.
Right here. Yeah, all that. Well, he filled in a lot of it. It's all freehand.
Nice.
He did it in 8 hours straight.
Oh God, my arm took 60.
Yeah,
for real. But I know what it was about, dude. You know, every time he went to work, he'd be like, "Hey, get a couple 100 papers. I'll start on your arm again."
Yeah.
And he just, you know, he was taking his time. He was taking his time.
Hey, so I did just let you know, I did get all the Diddy documents, pulled them all, saved them all. I'm going through them, highlighting stuff.
Sweet.
So if you ever want to do something, we can.
Yeah, we're gonna be doing that. Since that is kind of your forte, we're definitely going to do a show where we can break down some of the some of the most recent filings, because some of the new ones are fascinating.
Dude, yeah. And I've been reading his actual charges off the indictment. I didn't realize all that.
Yeah, it's ugly, bro.
What?
It's ugly
shit.
You know what? Honestly, and I have been living and breathing and all of that on this thing for a long time, about from the time it started. And every single week, the amount of depravity that this dude displayed, it gets eclipsed by it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse and worse. Nothing at this point would shock me. Nothing at this point would shock me. Yeah. It is ugly. Alrighty, peeps. We are going to be back here next week for Night Yard.
Nice meeting you, Russ.
You'll be seeing Casper this week.
Yeah.
On the boat for sure. Probably sooner than later. Alrighty, peeps. You guys don't run off. Alrighty, people. I am the Admiral. It's Casper. We got Russ. That is the news. And we are out of here. Between now and the next time we see you, reach out and try to save somebody.
Man, please.
Thanks,